Hey guys, I'm gonna do a few Wade videos. I have so many files, and now with this new documentary that just aired, there'll probably be some new interest in learning about the case. So I'm just gonna do a few videos. This one, I'm gonna put together all of Jesse's lives. I should say Marie. So at first, when she first started, she was going by Marie, and then she finally, well, once she got outed, then everybody knew her name was Jessie. But so I'm gonna put all the lives I have with her in this video, and then there's that one interview with her, and I'll timestamp them. So look for a pinned comment if you just want to go to a specific one. I'll timestamp them. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. This is Marie, and I am one of Wade's closest friends and a member of Team Wade. Thank you all so much for joining this live to finally hear Wade's side of the story. We have quite a few things on the agenda today, so stay tuned till the end. First, we're going to hear what Wade has to say. Then you will hear his story and development of events that led him to jail. We know that you have many questions, and honestly, probably more than we can even answer on one live, but we're going to answer a few. At the end of the live, we will have the much anticipated raffle for those of you that have donated so far. So we're going to get started here in just a second, and we're going to hear first from what Wade has to say. Give us just one moment while we get the clip loaded.
Hi, everyone. This is Wade. For too long, I have remained silent, hoping that the justice system would uncover the truth on its own. However, it is clear that I must now take matters into my own hands and reveal my side of the story. From the very beginning, I have maintained my innocence. I cooperated fully with the investigation, believing that the truth would prevail. But the system failed me. Evidence was mishandled. Witnesses were intimidated. And my voice was drowned out by the overwhelming pressure to find a scapegoat. I became that scapegoat, the convenient target to satisfy the demand for justice. I share this story with you now because I believe in the power of truth and the strength of your support. Together, we can shine a light on the corruption and flaws within the system that led to this miscarriage of justice. I ask you to continue fighting for my exoneration, to demand a thorough reinvestigation of the case, and to stand by my side as we seek the justice that has been denied for too long. Thank you for believing in me and for your unwavering commitment to the truth. Your support gives me so much hope to endure, knowing that one day the truth will set me free. I love you all, and thank you for joining this live.
All right, guys, and I understand that it might be a little bit challenging right now to hear. We apologize for those technical difficulties, and we are going to make sure that we repost this after so that you guys are able to stop it and hear it a little bit more clearly, because it's truly important what we have to say here today. This is the first opportunity and truly the first chance that Wade has actually had to tell his story and to tell what actually happened. So, without further ado, we're going to move on next to actually hear Wade's story. Now, I ask that you please be patient. Again, we're going to try to make this quality as best as we physically can because we want you to hear everything about his story. We will be posting it after, so you'll have access to it. And it's going to be a little lengthy. It's about 13 minutes long. So, be ready. Let's get it. Let's get it, girls. I hope you're ready. Wade initially started working for the organization around February of 2019, and he worked with them for about 8 months until his arrest. Initially, he was brought in as a security detail. Because of his size, people are naturally intimidated by him, but didn't ask many questions about the job because he needed one and they were offering. He moved to the Florida Keys to work at a resort, and he lived on a 3-story yacht that was part of the resort. Everything initially started out okay, but about 2 days after he moved to the resort, that's when the main boss, Eric James Brown, asked Wade to be part of his first meeting, as another gentleman would be coming in and he needed to talk business. At this meeting is where Wade truly understood his role and why he was asked to be part of the business, again, to be security and intimidating due to his size. And he understood that the business had to deal with guns and drug trafficking. Wade made a comment that the gentleman at the meeting stated that they would make sure there was enough ice in the ice machines. Ultimately, ice is referring to meth. Wade then started to learn about the chain of command. Tommy Williams was second in command and the main drug runner. Wade then met Josh Mateo Luckish through Eric at the resort at a party they were hosting. Over time, Wade ended up becoming the second in command, and this upset Tommy because ultimately it kicked him out of his position. Wade continued to learn more about the organization as he got closer with Eric. He learned that a majority of the drugs were from Costa Rica because Eric lived there for 1 to 2 years in a penthouse. He also learned that there was a private airport nearby in Marathon, Florida, only about 15 minutes away from the resort. They also had multiple cigarette boats at the resort, the yacht Wade lived on, and later on, Eric purchased a 2-person plane that could take off from the water. They utilized these forms of transportation to get the guns and drugs transported from Costa Rica, Jamaica, islands and Bahamas, even more places, back to Florida. And if you see it, it's only going to be a couple-hour boat ride from the Florida Keys to Costa Rica. The organization controlled the entire Keys. All of the drugs and guns coming in and out, had power and control over many people who lived in what they call the trailers in the Keys, and they continued to expand through Florida and other states. Wade realized that Eric started bringing in girls from all over who were on their payroll. Started with strippers from Miami and the Keys, and then he started seeing women being transported in from Brazil, Australia, Costa Rica, Aruba, and other exotic countries. Wade started to put the pieces together to realize that they were dealing in human trafficking as well. Before he was officially introduced to the human trafficking side, he was required to meet Eric's mother, Sandra Stillwell Youngquist, who is truly the main boss of the organization. She came down to the resort in Conquy and interviewed Wade to make sure he was legitimate and was ready to be fully involved in their business. When he realized they were involved in human trafficking, Wade became less interested in being in the organization. When he realized they were involved in human trafficking, Wade became less interested in being in the organization. He said he could deal with the drugs and guns, but he didn't like the human trafficking portion of it. Eric then told Wade he needed him to go to Fort Myers to look after the girls in the spa there as security. Tommy came with him to Fort Myers, and Wade stayed at Josh Mateo's condo at the time in the area. Eric told Wade to not get involved with any of the girls at the spa, including Mila, because Mila and Tommy used to date. All of the girls at the spa are licensed, so it looks legit, but it's ultimately covering up the illegal operations. Wade started getting into the motions of the business and operations and was still mainly used as security for the girls. Wade even mentioned that they would make home or hotel visits, and he would go with the girls to drive them to make sure they would be okay. They would even bring massage tables and items, so it kept up the idea that the business was legitimate. While he was in Fort Myers, all of the guns and drugs were kept at Josh Mateo's warehouse that he used for his graphic design company, Mateo Graphics. Josh had a Cuban friend who kept his large trucks on his property. They would utilize those trucks to load the guns and drugs on and then cover it with debris to make it not look quite as sketchy. The organization had some dirty cops in the Cape Coral Police Department which is the same police department that assisted in the first attempted arrest of Wade and accused him of the murders and were also part of his investigation and trial. Shortly after he arrived in Fort Myers, Wade started dating Mila. A few months later, they started talking about leaving the organization and moving to Hawaii. Now, they chose Hawaii because Mila previously dated a professional surfer there, lived in Hawaii, and was a prostitute there. Eric, Tommy, and Josh caught wind that they were planning to leave and take the rest of the girls with them. This means the spa in Fort Myers would be shut down, which affects their operations. Now, 2 days before the murders, Mila and Wade were at the spa late at night. They heard a knocking on the glass window, and Tommy was standing there with a man named Chris Brown, who was a very big bouncer and security guy for the organization. Tommy tried to get Wade to go outside and talk with him, and Wade said he would only speak to Tommy if Chris went back to the car. Once Chris went back to the car, Wade went outside, and that's when Tommy told him that they were aware of what he was up to and threatened that if he tried to leave, they would kill him. Tommy ended up leaving shortly after that. That next day, Wade went to the Buddha with Mila, where they met a doctor from Georgia who was interested in finding a girl to have sex with. Wade offered Mila up and said the doctor paid to sleep with her. Mila then went home with the doctor and did not go to a friend's house, as she said. Wade had Mila's car because she went home with the doctor. He didn't ultimately steal the car. Wade met Christine that evening, and they went to Jason Shepard's house after they left the Buddha, which they had just met Jason that night. Mila's Hellcat ran out of gas, and ultimately it stayed parked at Jason's house while Wade and Christine Ubered back to her place. Wade stayed at Christine's place until about 5 a.m., maybe a little bit later. He said it was around the time the sun was rising in October. He then left because he had to go to Josh's warehouse to get drugs to do a run. He used Christine's car to go to the warehouse because, again, the Hellcat was still at Jason's house without gas. When he arrived at the warehouse, Wade was met by Josh and another man he did not know. They said they needed to talk to him and told him to sit down. They then told Wade that they knew he wanted to leave the organization, but that wasn't going to be an option. Josh told Wade at that time that they were murdering both Christine and Diane, and that he would be expected to take the blame for it. They told Wade exactly how both murders would be done. In this way, Wade wouldn't be able to leave and would be in prison instead. They threatened him. It wasn't at gunpoint, but Wade knew guns were easily accessible since they were at the warehouse, that if he did not take the blame, they would harm his loved ones. They then forced Wade to make phone calls utilizing a device that would reroute through the victims' phones. That's why there's evidence that Wade used their phones to call his biological father and Mila. Wade first called his biological dad and purposely called him over his adoptive parents because he didn't want to involve them. He told him he did something bad that he cannot take back. He was very vague with his initial conversation with his dad. He then called Mila, again, still utilizing that device which rerouted the call through the victim's phones, to tell her the same thing. Once the calls were done, Josh told Wade that he was going to call the police to have them come and arrest him. The first responding officer was Sergeant Angela Fleming, who was a longtime friend of Mila's. Angela Fleming is also related to Miguel Fleming, who was one of the detectives on Wade's case for the Cape Coral Police Department and was in the Navy with Mila. Josh called the cops and then left. While Wade was waiting for the cops to arrive so that he could take the fall, he had a change of heart. Wade got an opportunity to escape through the back door of the warehouse. He ran out the door and hid in the bushes and trees behind the warehouse for a while. Once the cops left, Wade found a house across the street that seemed abandoned that he was able to break in through the back window. He said he stayed in that house for a few hours, mid-afternoon till later that night, while he figured out his next steps. He needed a place to be safe and think about what he could do. Later that night, he called his biological dad and he told him he did something bad and needed help. He then gave him more information about the murders because Wade was ready to go to jail and realized that this was his only option to keep his loved ones safe. His biological dad said he would send him an Uber, but instead called the cops, which Wade knew he would. The marshals came shortly after to arrest Wade, and he was taken to jail. 2 days after being in jail, Wade completed a video visitation with his biological dad, where he told his dad additional information, including where Diane's body was, so that it could be taken back to her family. Wade was forced into confessing, as he was terrified that his loved ones would be hurt. He knew if he told his biological dad that it would get back to Eric and the entire organization, showing that he upheld his side of the deal. 4 days after being in jail, Wade then confessed to the detectives for the murder, still concerned about his family's safety, and was hoping that this would get into the news, so again, Eric and the organization would see that he upheld his side of the deal. After 8 days in jail, it had still not broken on the news. Wade then took measures into his own hands and called Mila because he knew she would be working with the reporters. He confesses to the murders because he knew Mila would tell the reporters and it would get attention from media. Again, this would draw attention so that Wade could ensure that it got back to Eric and the organization, that he was confessing, upholding his end of the deal so that his loved ones would be kept safe. Less than a month after Wade was incarcerated, specifically on December 3rd, 2019, Wade's adoptive parents' house in Tennessee was mysteriously burned down, and Wade knew this was Eric and the organization attempting to kill them. That's when Wade decided he needed to retract his story because he realized the organization would still try to kill his loved ones. It took him some time to come out because he was hoping to not have a public defender and wanted to do it the right way with someone who would understand and be willing to stand up for him. Over time, he realized he would not get that and decided he needed to contact news to get his story out and retract his admission of guilt.
All right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed hearing Wade's side of the story here finally.
I initially started working for the organization.
Oops, sorry. Started replaying. So I'm happy you guys were able to finally hear his side of the story. And again, I apologize if there were any issues with understanding what was said. We are going to make sure that we post this again at a later time so that everyone is going to have access to it to be able to go back. So I believe the next step that we're going to go over to are going to be some questions that we have. And again, we ask that you start sending in your questions and please be patient. I'm working with my team remotely so that they can send me over the questions as they come in. But if you don't mind, please start sending in your questions. And what we're going to plan to do is we're going to do we're going to answer some of your questions. Again, please try to prevent them from being personal questions about Wade. He does not necessarily want to answer personal questions. And I'll be honest too, I don't know how many I could personally answer myself. I am a close friend, but I would want it to be accurate. So if you want to start sending in those questions, we're going to give it a second for them to start compiling, and then we're going to go from there. How do I know the story? I know the story ultimately because, again, I am a close friend of Wade's. I speak to him several times a day, and this story came directly from him. We took some time over the last week to really make sure that we got all of the fine details because we wanted you, the supporters, his people who are donating to his cause so that he can afford a better lawyer so that he actually has a fighting chance. We took the time to make sure that we went over the story together, and this is directly from him. Another question that came through is, and I'm going to be probably a little bit vague on this, guys, is how does he feel about God? Does he pray daily? I will tell you he is a very spiritual person. He does believe in a God as well too, but overall he's just a spiritual human being. and he does believe in his own ways. I am not a partner of Wade's. I can tell you that I am definitely not a partner of Wade's. I am just a close friend. Simple as that. Here to tell his story and here to fight for him, as well as our team. Has he found any potential lawyers? We definitely have lawyers that we would love to hire, but the only way that we can hire those lawyer guys is if you continue to donate to our Fundly account. And as a reminder, it's going to be under Save Wade Stephen Wilson. I'll repeat, the best way that you can help us find new lawyers for him is to be able to donate to his cause. It's on Fundly, Save Wade Stephen Wilson. If you go to our TikTok page, our Instagram, or Facebook, you're going to find the links there as well. But that is the best way that you can truly support Wade at this time and be able to help him afford, again, the lawyers that he truly needs and deserves. He deserves to have his voice his voice heard. We're getting in a lot of messages here, guys, about how you can speak with Wade and how you can talk with him. I want to remind you that right now Wade is really focused on, and he loves your support, don't get me wrong. Everyone talks with him about it daily, our team. And we read him your comments, I hope you know, on a daily basis, because that's what really keeps him happy and keeps him fighting and keeps his energy up. So please keep sending in the wonderful comments. He loves hearing them. Now, he is still getting in a ridiculous amount of requests and messages daily. So it is very challenging and very difficult for him to be able to respond to those because, again, he's really, honestly, we joke, he's working a full-time job while he's in jail right now. And his full-time job is to partner with his team so that we can save his life and we can afford lawyers. So, again, you can try to request him through the Smart Inmate, but please understand that if he does not respond, if he does not accept it, it's because he is on the inside fighting right now for his life so that we can prove his innocence and so that we can bring him justice. They asked if he's being provided with professional help. I think you guys understand that unfortunately his lawyers have not been of any help to Wade. So I can say that overall the current lawyers have not been providing truly any professional help for him. Majority of the support that he's receiving at this time is from you as his supporters and from Team Wade here, who's running his social media accounts and his family running his Fundly account. Wade cannot do any form. Another question is, do we visit him in prison, in person? So I apologize, in jail. So they currently do not, at the Lee County Jail in Florida, they do not allow for any in-person visitations. I can confirm that. They only allow for phone calls, emailings, and video visitations. So Lee County Jail, if you look it up, again, they do not allow for in-person visitations. The donation money, that's a great question. So where does the donation money go? So the donation money currently is going directly to a bank account that Wade's family has set up for him. So they have a separate bank account set up. All of your donations and all of your wonderful donations. I'm not sure if everyone saw, but we officially hit over $15,000 yesterday, guys. That's absolutely incredible. We are so thankful, and I know Wade is so thankful for your donations and your support. But again, all the money is going directly to a bank account, and it is being saved to the side right now so that as soon as we can afford a lawyer, we are ready to go and we are ready to tell his story and have his voice be heard. What we're going to do, guys, is we're going to just take a couple more questions here before we move on over to the raffle, because we do still need to do the raffle. Someone asked about what's going on with PayPal. We are still working through some issues with PayPal, so please at this time, if you can, donate to Fundly. We are truly hoping to have it fixed by Monday or Tuesday, and we apologize for that inconvenience because we know there's a lot of you that want to donate that don't have access to Fundly. I promise you we are working as fast as we can, and we will let you know just as soon as the PayPal account is back up and running. But again, for now, the best way that you can truly support Wade is by donating to his Fundly account. It is under Save Wade Stephen Wilson. Again, if you go to Fundly, Save Wade Stephen Wilson, that's going to be the best way that you can support him at this time until PayPal is back up and running. Is anyone investigating the case outside of his legal team? I can tell you that there are people who are working to investigate his case, both professionally, but also on the other side, you as supporters. We have so many of his supporters that have been sending us whatever information that they can, compiling information, and it's absolutely astounding. He truly appreciates all of the support that he has received from everyone, especially everyone that's so invested in proving his innocence and going out there and finding the information to send over to us. So again, as soon as we have a lawyer for him and we can afford a lawyer for him, we're ready to compile this data and send it all over to prove his innocence. So we do have people professionally investigating, but again, on the other side, we want to thank you guys so much for all of your investigative skills that you've been bringing to the table, you little sleuths. It's been wonderful. And we're going to do one more question here, guys. Someone said, I've donated, but can I buy him food and snacks? Now, he's a big guy, right? He's 6'5". So yeah, he needs to eat. But I can tell you that currently he has been receiving a ton of money to his current commissary. He has a couple $1,000s, and I will tell you that that's going to go a very, very long way for him. So he appreciates it so much that that you want to send him food and snacks, but the best way still to be able to support him is to continue to donate to his Fundly account, because he does have a lot of money and he does have a lot of food currently right now in his cell. And I apologize. We're actually going to do just one more question. And this is just because I think this one's very important and it relates back to why we're here today. Why didn't Wade testify in court? So going back to the whole story here, Wade wanted to be able to testify, but he didn't feel comfortable because, as you saw from his trial, and I'm sure most of you watched it, Wade had no support from his lawyers. They didn't even believe in his innocence. And you even saw in the closing statements that they admitted his guilt, even though he's not guilty of this and he's innocent. It completely threw him off. He was not expecting them to say that. And that's one of the reasons why he didn't testify, is because he didn't believe in his lawyers, because they don't believe in him and they are not here to fight for him and they're not here to fight for his innocence. So that's one of the reasons why he decided not to testify, because he wants his story to be heard in the right light. And he wants to make sure that when he personally tells his story, and it's not just coming from myself, or from Team Wade, he wants to make sure he has the right support behind him. So thank you guys again so much for sending in your questions. Now, I know that there's a million more questions coming in, and we're truly, truly appreciative for all the support. We will be hosting more lives here going forward. But what we're going to do meanwhile next is we're going to go over to our raffle. So for all of those who have currently donated, we do have 3 different raffles that we're doing. For those who donated $10 to $50, $51 to $100, and then $100 to $200. So what I'm going to do is we're going to randomly select who is ultimately going to be the winners of these raffles. And the winning prize is that you're going to get a phone call from Wade. So after we're all done selecting these winners, we'll be disconnecting from the live, and then we'll be reaching out to those winners individually, so that we can make sure that you know how Wade's going to get in contact with you, okay? So we're going to start first for those who donated $10 to $50. And the winner is... Woo, congratulations to Shelly R., who's going to be our first winner of a phone call from Wade. Thank you so much again for your donation. Next one we're going to move to is going to be $51 to $100 donations. Winner is... Congratulations to Kelly B. You're going to be our second winner. And our last but not least, for those who donate $100 to $200, let's see who's going to win here. Last but not least, our last winner is... There we go, Jolyn M.
So congratulations to our 3 winners. Again, Shelly R. We have Kelly B. and Jolyn M. We truly appreciate everybody's donations, and we're going to continue to do these raffles every single time that we're doing a live. So please continue to donate, support his cause. And before we go here, I'm going to pull up his Fundly account so you know for sure, again, which one is the true account that you can donate to support. All right, guys, and again, here is his Fundly account under Save Wade Stephen Wilson. This is his only account. This is going to be the best way that you can support Wade at this time. Donate so that we can afford some new lawyers for him so that he can get the proper legal representation to tell his story and be able to prove his innocence. Again, everyone, before you disconnect, we want to truly thank you for taking your time here today to listen to Wade's story. I'm happy we were able to finally share it. And we can't wait to be able to give you some more information. So stay tuned to his official social media accounts. Under TikTok and Instagram, it's going to be Wade Stephen Wilson Official. And on Facebook, it's under Wade Stephen Wilson. So please stay tuned. We have a lot of great stuff that we're going to be posting this week to continue. And then as well, we're going to be posting from today's live too. So you guys will have it, okay? Again, we're super appreciative, and we're going to talk to you soon. Wade loves you. Team Wade loves you. And thanks again for all of your support, guys. We'll talk again. All right, guys, we made it to over 30,000 likes. Please continue to like and share this page, but I think it's time to get started here. So, again, everyone, this is Marie, and from Team Wade, we want to thank you so much for adapting to the circumstances tonight. They might try to shut down our live streams, but again, they're not going to be able to silence us, and they're not going to silence Wade. We're a resilient group here, and we're going to continue to fight for him no matter what the circumstances are. So, to get started, first and foremost, we have a lot that we're going to look to cover here tonight. So, we've actually decided to break this up into a 2-part event. Again, we'll probably get a little bit creative again next time and figure out how we're going to host the next live event. But we do want to let you know kind of an idea about what we're going to be here to cover tonight. Again, we're still increasing our viewers here, so please continue to tap on the screen and make sure that you share this out as I go over this information with you, because we want to get his message out to as many people as possible. And again, we're going to record this so that we can post it afterwards. So our next live event, we're planning to have it completed actually on Sunday. So this coming Sunday, the 25th, we're still figuring out the time. So stay tuned to our official pages, Wade Stephen Wilson Official on both Instagram and TikTok, and on Facebook, Wade Stephen Wilson, for more information on the time. But we're going to plan to do another live on Sunday. Now, the whole idea of tonight, guys, is we want to give you an update on Wade, of course, our number one priority here. We also want to touch on our Fundly and Go Get Funding campaigns, his motion for a new trial and acquittal being denied, and, potential new attorneys that we've been looking into. We also are going to debunk some rumors that are going around, because I'm sure everyone has seen them. There's about 1.5 million going around right now, and everyone's been sending us in these rumors, and we're really thankful so that we can make sure we can address them so you know what the actual truth is. And trust me, guys, we have receipts as well. So we came prepared here tonight. So to get started, though, let's start with an update on Wade. So it's been a little bit of a challenging week. As of last Saturday, it was August 10th. At 4:15 p.m., Wade officially had all of his phone and email communications completely shut off and revoked. So they are doing their best to silence Wade on the inside as well, because, again, I think they're a little intimidated that we're trying to tell his truth. Now, being completely honest and transparent, we are not sure when or if he's going to be getting these privileges back before he is transferred to prison, but we are still fighting on a daily basis for this.
We want to thank everybody so much for your concerns. But we are going to ask you that you please do not reach out to the jail any further. We're significantly concerned that this is causing him to have his privileges taken away even longer, because of how many people and the volume of the amount of people who are reaching out directly. So we really thank you for your concern. Truly, it means a lot, but please do not contact the Lee County Jail any further. They can implement their own rules. They are not regulated by the government because it is not a state prison. So we do need to make sure that we're aware that the more we reach out, unfortunately, we think the worse off it is for him. We have tried to contact the jail ourselves on numerous occasions, but we've been put on hold or hung up on. We haven't really been given any form of information. We've even tried to contact his lawyers and we've had absolutely no luck. No shocker there though, but they haven't returned any of our phone calls or emails. Now, I will say that today, Wade did appear for a court appearance today for his motion to transport, and that's ultimately so that they can transport him to and from to get him to his scans and MRIs that need to be completed on August 22nd. Now, the good news is, guys, we can share that someone on our team was able to make it today to that hearing at 9 a.m., and we were physically able to see Wade. It was absolutely great. And ultimately, he seemed like he was in good spirits, given the circumstances, clearly, and not being able to communicate with anyone on the outside. He did see that he had a representation from his team there, and you could really tell that it kept him upbeat and excited of what the future holds. Because, again, he knows that he has us out here fighting, even if he can't communicate with us on a daily basis right now. So, again, we did see Wade today in person, one of our team members, and he was very happy to see that he did have support there. Now, heading on next to the Fundly and Go Get Funding campaigns, we wanted to address this because there's been a lot of rumors going around that it's going to get shut down. There's going to be legal action taken against it. So I will tell you that our pages are as strong as ever right now. We have actually had constant communication with a representative from Fundly. They've been super helpful with helping us try to resolve issues with the donate button and other website glitches. And thanks again to the supporters for letting us know when that happens, because sometimes we're sleeping, sometimes we're unaware. So anytime you have an issue with donating, or if it's not showing it, let us know, and we're going to make sure that we reach out to that representative who's been super helpful. They are very much aware and familiar with our campaign and our goals. So again, guys, I want to reiterate, this money is not going directly to Wade, but instead the donations are going to be going towards a lawyer for him to handle his appeals process. He is not profiting off of this at all. And the money that's being raised for Wade is to go directly, again, to the lawyers who are going to handle his appeal process. So, I will tell you that the lawyers to handle these types of process, it's a little expensive. It's around $150,000 to $250,000. And there's also more legal fees on top of that we're learning about on a daily basis. It's absolutely insane. Take some time to Google it if you can. Wade also has some other medical conditions, including a hernia, which have been neglected over the last 5 years that he's been in the Lee County Jail. So if there is any money that's saved over from the very end, we're going to make sure that that money goes directly towards getting these medical conditions completed and treated, because he's significantly hurting on a daily basis, and unfortunately he's being ignored. So I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't make me feel too good that that's what he's going through. Now, I will tell you that in another live stream here, we're going to wait a little bit before we release it. We're going to give you guys all of the information about exactly how he has been mistreated at the jail, and it's a doozy. So we're excited for you guys to be able to hear about it. Now, switching gears, we're going to talk about his motion for a new trial and acquittal, which was denied the other day. So we do want to let you know there's rumors, and I'm sure you've seen it, that Wade has no chance to get out of jail or prison. This is fake news, everybody. Wade still has the option to go through the appeals process to make sure that he can fight his conviction. Now, the appeals process, we're actually going to do the live on Sunday, and we're going to cover more about what that actual process entails, so that
everybody can be educated on what the next steps are going to be for Wade and for his trial. So we were ultimately expecting this motion to be denied because it goes to the current judge, Judge Thompson, and he's the one who gets to decide. Now, this is very rarely granted by the trial judge. Because if you think about it, why would a judge really want to agree to a new trial when he was overseeing it previously? This means that he would have to admit his own fault and how he ruled over the case. So again, we were expecting his motion for a new trial and acquittal to be denied, but the fight is not over. We are still going to be here with Wade through the entire appeal process, and we are going to ensure that he gets a new trial out of this. But again, guys, the only way that we can get him to the appeals process is if we can hire a lawyer and the best lawyer for him. So that's why we wanted to move on next to talk about potential new attorney information. And I do have some stuff to share with you on that too. We have reached out to several very reputable firms in Florida, approximately 6 of them. And again, guys, we don't want just the bare bones for Wade. And I don't know about you, but I want to make sure that when he comes through this entire appeals process, that he has the best person by his side. He deserves that because, again, he hasn't been given a fair chance or any type of way to tell his truth and to tell his story. So when it comes to the new attorney, again, I already let you know how much it can cost, $150,000 to $250,000 for what's called the direct appeal process. And that's that first appeal that does occur after conviction and after sentencing. We also found out that not every single attorney can actually handle these cases. We found out that they have to be death penalty certified. God forbid if that's what the outcome is on Tuesday. And many will not take on the case until they figure that out. Now, everybody understands that we need to have an attorney secured for Wade before he has a sentencing. And our goal is to get one completed and signed up by Friday at the very latest so that they are ready to go on Wednesday morning, the day after his sentencing is actually completed. Now, a lot of you have written in the comments, how about Jose Baez, right? Big name. He's handled some big cases like Aaron Hernandez and Casey Anthony. I will tell you that we have reached out directly to the Baez law firm and we did speak to the representative there. What I'm going to try to do here is, and I'm not sure if I can, I'm going to try to post a picture here showing you the conversations that we actually had. So I apologize. Give me 1 second. I'm going to post the first screen here, which is the direct email thread with one of the representatives at the Baez firm. Let me just share this now. You guys should be able to see this. Let me just say, yeah, you guys should be able to see this first email now. This is directly from Michelle. I've been in contact with her at the Baez firm, and you can see in here that she's expressing that the jurors actually voted potentially for the death penalty. They said that she said in her email that she's going to have to check in and see if this is even a case that they would be able to cover, because they really only have maybe 1 or 2 people who can handle death penalty cases. And again here, guys, the only way that Jose Baez's firm would be able to cover him, she expressed to me, and I'm going to post the next one for you. So give me 1 second while I get that up here. But again, in this next one here, you're going to see that she actually wrote an email and let us know as well that if he's sentenced to the death penalty, and here's the next one, guys, you're going to see that if he's sentenced to the death penalty, that they said that they would not be able to be involved if he is sentenced to death. We would have to wait until sentencing to find out. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that we ultimately have reached out to the Baez law firm. They were super helpful and they were super nice. But we also wanted to make sure that you were aware that on the other end, they said that if he is sentenced to the death penalty, they cannot help in this situation, no matter what the circumstances. We even asked if Jose Baez himself, if we could afford him, if he would cover it. And unfortunately, we've been told no. So we did want to give you guys that update on the Baez law firm. And again, we're going to have this all recorded here, guys, so that you can go back and you can review all the information in the emails, because I know it's a little bit difficult to be able to read those emails quickly. But we still haven't given up hope. We still have several other really wonderful, great lawyers in Florida who are open to taking on the case if we can raise up the proper amount of money for a retainer. Now, on top of it, you guys have also asked about the Innocence Project, and we've already looked into the Innocence Project as well, too. Now, the thing is with them, they won't do anything until sentencing is completed. So our goal is that we've actually already written it all out, but as soon as the sentencing is completed, we are going to directly reach out to the Innocence Project, and we're going to see what they can potentially do to help us out. Okay? But again, our number one goal, and I don't want to forget, you get to remind everyone of this, is that we want to have an attorney onboarded and ready to take over by Wednesday of next week. So that means we have just a few more days, guys, to continue to raise funds on our Fundly account as well as on our Go Get Funding. So again, please make sure you check out on Fundly and Go Get Funding. It's under Save Wade Stephen Wilson. Again, Fundly and Go Get Funding. It's Save Wade Stephen Wilson. Please donate. Any amount matters, and any support works here, so that we can make sure that we can get him the proper attorney and lawyer that he deserves. So next, guys, we're going to hop on over and we're going to debunk some rumors here next. After that, we're going to finish up by doing some open Q&A. And again, continue to send in your questions that you do have for us. Make sure that your questions are respectable. We're not going to answer any question on Wade's childhood, his family, his romantic life. And we will answer questions on his case as long as it's public knowledge. We don't want to do anything to jeopardize him here in the future. So please just make sure that your questions are respectable, but we do want to make sure that we answer as many of them as we can tonight. So the first rumor that we're going to debunk here, guys, is that Wade has access to the internet and social media. This is completely fake news. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with jail, which I wasn't before meeting Wade, they have absolutely no access to almost anything. Their tablets have very few and far between apps that they can even utilize. So, first and foremost, Wade does have access to things like music, which is similar to like a Pandora. He has access to movies, which is updated once per month, and he doesn't even get everything that's new. He does have a few games, and one game that I know that I personally downloaded from talking with him is called Merge Block. I recommend you check it out. It's a little interesting, but it's honestly kind of fun to play, and I know he loves playing it. He also has email available through Smart Inmate on his GTL tablets. Again, though, all of his phone calls and emails have been completely disabled, and we don't know when he's going to return those. So, again, I want to remind you of that. He also has absolutely no access to internet, no access to apps like Signal or WhatsApp. And I really want to highlight this because there have been a lot of scammers going around that are stating that they can help you get in contact with him for a fee through these apps. Please, guys, do not believe them. That is not Wade that you are speaking to. And the reason why I say this is because the jails have super strict restrictions, and they would never allow Wade to use encrypted apps like Signal or WhatsApp to communicate with anybody. The jail wants to make sure that they can read every single message, and they can record every single phone call that comes through. And Wade's being watched right now, I want to remind you, 24/7. Like, literally 24/7. I can't express it. There is absolutely no way that he would ever have access to these apps, again, because they are encrypted, and it would not allow the jail to be able to review messages or listen into the phone conversations or record them. Another thing that I'll add is the fact that Wade also cannot take photos to send to you. And you cannot call him. He has to call you because it is a prepaid phone call. He does not have a cell phone, contrary to popular belief here. And again, he's being watched 24/7. And so there's absolutely no way that they would ever allow him to have a cell phone, because we get it, right? People in some prisons can get them snuck in. Well, reminder, guys, this is a county jail and it's much smaller. So he absolutely does not have a cell phone of any sort. He cannot even get one snuck in because, again, there are no visitors that are currently allowed to come to the Lee County Jail in Florida. They only allow video visitations. So, again, absolutely no visitors allowed. Wade does not have a cell phone, no access to internet or email, or anything of like that. No access to apps like Signal or WhatsApp. And like I said, guys, please just be careful. We want to protect you so you are not being scammed, because there are a lot of scammers out there right now. So going on to our next topic, another rumor that we're going to debunk is the fact that it's been said that Wade has STDs. This is fake news as well too, guys, and I can definitely 100% share that. So I can tell you that we have access to Wade's medical records, and it shows in his medical records that he has had STD testing completed in 2021, 2022, and 2024 as a precaution at the jail. Now, we cannot share these medical records because that's a HIPAA violation to share with anybody that is not authorized. But I can tell you that I have looked at his medical records myself, and I can confirm that he does not have any form of STDs. Now, this is where the receipts come in here, guys. So pay close attention. I'm going to share my screen here in just a second. Now, I know that Kelly has expressed through several of her lives that he has multiple STDs, and she's claiming that he has all these diseases. Now, I want to remind you that that's defamation of character, and that's something very serious that we don't take lightly, especially since we have the proof that this is not accurate and this is not correct. So, just want to remind you that these are items that, and sharing stuff like this and saying things like this can ultimately lead to defamation lawsuits. So instead, what I'm going to share with you here in a second is the fact that actually we have a text message thread where Kelly openly admits that she has herpes and that she openly gave it to Wade. So let me just share with you guys this message that we have here. Give me 1 second while I try to pull it up. Here we go. All right, you guys should be able to see my screen now. So you're going to see in the screen that ultimately in this text message thread, you can see that Kelly is openly admitting that she had herpes and that she gave it to Wade. Now, I want to go a little bit more in depth and talk to you a little bit more about herpes here, guys, okay? So first and foremost, there's two different types of herpes. We have both oral herpes, which are going to be cold sores, which we're all mostly familiar with. There's also genital herpes. Now, in order to spread herpes or genital herpes or any sort of it, it has to be an active infection that's going to be spread through skin-to-skin contact or through bodily fluids. So it has to be in an active infection state. Now, I had to look this up, guys, clearly, because I'm not familiar at all with herpes. I should let you know that. But ultimately, like I said, active infection, and I recommend Googling it, but make sure you have a strong stomach because it's a little bit gross. So make sure you look it up, but active infection means a group or cluster of lesions and blisters. It's supposed to be extremely painful and a burning sensation. You have to have these lesions and blisters in order to spread it. So, again, if you haven't seen what it looks like, make sure you Google it. It's really gross though, so just make sure you're not eating anything at that time. And I will tell you that if you do look it up online, and I want to give you this information, it does say that there's a slight possibility that it can be spread through other ways and other methods. But there's a lot of gray area in the medical field, I want to remind you. Not everything is black and white when it comes to the medical field. Medical professionals are there to protect their license. So they never want to say everything is for sure yes or anything is for sure no. They always have to have some form of disclaimer in there to say that there's always a chance that it can be spread in different ways. So again, I just want to remind you here that genital or oral herpes, they have to be spread through active infection. And I don't know about you, especially after looking it up, I would not want to have any form of interaction with anybody if I had an active state of that. It looks extremely gross and very uncomfortable. Just going to change my screen back here, guys. 1 second. Great. All right. So that's really going to be the rumors that we debunk here tonight. What we're going to do now is we're going to answer some live Q&A, and then after this, we're going to be wrapping up our conversation here tonight, okay? Just give me 1 second while I try to get some stuff pulled up here, okay? So just one.
All right, sorry about that. Just getting some of your questions pulled up. And again, please send in your questions. We want to make sure that we're able to answer as many of them as we can as possible, but please make sure that they are respectful. Please make sure that it's not about Wade's childhood, his family, his son. Please make sure that it's as well too not about anything that is not public information already about his trial, because again, we got to keep some of our cards close here, and we want to make sure that we don't give out all of the information so that he has a really good chance here in his appeal process. We're going to let some more questions coming in, but meanwhile, guys, I want to see some more of those blue hearts coming in here. So let's see some more blue hearts coming in for Wade in the comments. Remember to make sure that you are donating to our Fundly and Go Get Funding pages. They're both under Save Wade Stephen Wilson. As a reminder, this is the only way that we're going to be able to afford the absolute best lawyer for him to handle his appeals process. So continue to share this page out. Again, we're recording it, so we're going to post it to our pages when we're able to. But let's make sure that we support our guy. All right, we're going to start with some questions because they're really starting to rapidly come through here, and this is awesome, guys. And I'm going to do my best to answer as many of these as possible. So first, when will Wade get his communication back? Again, guys, I want to be honest and transparent with you that we have absolutely no idea. Again, county jails we found are different from state jails. Now, state jails have to follow the government because they're federally funded. County jails, they regulate themselves and they make their own decisions. So the county jail right now, understandably, they're a little bit upset with what we're doing, and I don't blame them. But then again, they should not be trying to silence him and quiet him from here, because they're just trying to cover up the errors that they've made and the mistakes that they've made. So no idea when he's getting his communications back, but I promise you that Team Wade will let you know just as soon as he does, because we're excited to get an update from him as well. Our second question, are the petitions already submitted? Now, I can let you know that the petitions have not been submitted yet. We are actually going to be submitting them tomorrow, so please keep sharing those petitions out. We are super excited to be able to share these with Wade's lawyers. And what they're going to do is they're going to make sure that they present them to the judge on Tuesday of next week when he does have a sentencing. So I believe we're right around 40,000 signatures between the two petitions that we are promoting. So please, guys, continue to promote them. We have 24 hours left, not even, to get as many signatures on those petitions as possible. Our third question, will he have lawyers prior to the appeal? That's our goal here. So again, guys, that's why we're hosting these live events. That's why we're doing all this fundraising, because ultimately we want this money. Again, it's not going directly to Wade. Instead, this money is going towards his lawyers that are going to handle his appeals process. We have really truly until about Friday to get that done. And I will let you know that realistically, guys, we have to get to at least $90,000 in order to secure them. That's only $20,000 away, and we have several more days to do it. So we can do this. We can absolutely do this, and I know we can because of all of the supporters that Wade has across the world. So let's make sure that we continue to share these pages, share his fundraising accounts. Again, we need about $20,000 more until we can actually complete a retainer to secure an appeals lawyer. We've got this. We're not going to get up. We're going to continue to give up. We're going to continue to fight until the very end. And then this is a great question. I'm super excited and thankful for whatever happened. What about Big Keen? He said he would help. And I don't know about you guys, but I watched that video a couple times, and I do remember him saying he was going to help, right? I don't know about you. Now, I will tell you that unfortunately, we have tried to reach out to Big Keen through messages. We also have been on his live events trying to get his attention. Unfortunately, he hasn't responded to us. So my recommendation for all of Wade's TikTok wives out there, for Team Wade, all of the supporters, let's blow up his DMs. Let's keep sending him messages. Let's hold him accountable for what he said that he wanted to do and how he wanted to help. So I want to see that coming out here, guys. I can't wait to see all the messages. Let's continue to raise hell here. Going on to some of the next questions.
when will the merch go out? So I'm actually mailing out the first, our first set of wristbands and hats here tomorrow. So thank you so much to everybody that has already bought wristbands and hats. We still do have some left. So continue to send your orders in. And then our plan is once we're sold out, we are going to order some more. So please, continue to order the wristbands and merch. Again, all of this money is going to be going directly towards the cost of Wade's, lawyers to handle his appeal. We still do have wristbands, and hats that are left. And then at the end of August, we apologize for the wait, but we will have shirts available too. So we're excited to get those out. Next question. Can he get handwritten letters? I'm going to be honest that we really don't know about that, guys. I would love to say yes, but confidently I cannot say that. Now, if you'd like to try to send him a handwritten letter, you are more than welcome to do that. But at this time, we don't really know what's getting delivered to him and what's not getting delivered to him. Again, he has absolutely no email or phone privileges. And with not having that, I do have a good feeling that they have also cut off any type of mail that he is receiving. So it doesn't hurt because eventually he's going to see it. But you can still try to send him in some of those handwritten letters. Why did they take away Wade's privileges? I will tell you, while I don't know the exact reason, I think I can speculate that it's because they're frustrated that we're trying to tell his truth and we're trying to tell his story and we're trying to call them out for their inadequacies. This complete trial and everything has just been an absolute witch hunt on Wade. He has not been given an option to actually have his voice in any of this. His lawyers did not even defend him in his trial. And we're calling them out for their actions. And not only for that, we're calling out the jail for their actions too. And they don't like us too much. But do we really care? Honestly, no. So again, I can't say why, but I think there's multiple reasons as to why they took away his privileges. But the biggest reason is because they're trying to silence him from telling his truth. The good news is we already know his truth and we're going to continue to say it, and they can't silence us from the outside. How does donation work from Brazil? Another good question. That's why we set up the Go Get Funding account. Now, that Go Get Funding account, it should allow you to be able to donate from Brazil. If you do have questions, please feel free to send us those questions over and we'll help you to the best of our ability. But again, if you go on Go Get Funding, you can look up Save Wade Stephen Wilson. And that's the account that if you're from Brazil, you should be able to. So what prison will he go to? Another great question. And I'll be honest that we have no idea until after his sentencing on Tuesday. So if Wade is sentenced to death, he will be going up to Union Correctional Facility in Rayford, Florida. That is where the death row inmates are currently housed in the state of Florida. But on the other end, if he is not sentenced to death, if he's sentenced to life, instead he will go to a reception center for a little bit of time, until he can actually, go to another prison somewhere here in Florida, which we're unsure of what prison that would be. So again, if it's death, he'll go to Rayford to Union Correctional. If not, he'll go to a reception center for a few weeks until he figures out exactly where he's going to be sent for prison in Florida. Now, another good question, who am I to Wade? And I think I might explain our team a little bit better. So our team kind of came together organically, guys. I've been friends with Wade here for a little bit of time, and I believed his innocence from the very beginning and believed and truly thought that he deserved a fair chance at a trial. Now, luckily, our team, we have a team of 5 individuals. We're all from around the world, so it's wonderful. We can cover the page at all hours of the day. We always joke that we have 24-hour surveillance on all of our social media pages. But again, our team, we've all just kind of been connected actually by Wade. He was able to speak with each of us, and he thought that we would be great together on a team. And I'll tell you that I absolutely love our team. I love the girls, but more than anything, we love you, the supporters, because we couldn't do our jobs without all of the support that's coming in from you guys. And without all the love that's coming in every single day, all of the documentation, all of the recommendations, we take absolutely everything in. I want to let you know. And we talk about all of this. So
Again, we're just good friends of Wade's who have all come together to make sure that we can help prove his innocence and truly get him the fair trial and everything that he deserves. If he loves reading, this next question, if he loves reading, what does he like to read? He reads a lot of fiction. Honestly, it's kind of a mixture of everything. So I'm trying to think of the last book he read, and I apologize. It's blanking from my mind, but I will get it, and I'll make sure that we reiterate it to you guys what the last book is that he read. But really, he'll read anything that he can get his hands on. He likes to do crossword puzzles as well, too. He's just someone who wants to be constantly learning and continuing to utilize his brain. Another question, does he know how much support he has? I will tell you that he definitely knows how much support he has, and now clearly we haven't spoken with Wade in a week and a half now on the phone. We did have somebody present today at his sentencing, so it's another reminder that he has support from his team, and he has support from the rest of the world as well too. But he does know, because before he had his phone privileges revoked again, it was on Saturday the 10th. At 4:15 p.m. That's when his privileges were officially revoked from him. We were able to share with him a lot of comments ahead of time, how the pages were doing, how many followers he had, where his donations were at for his legal team. So he is aware of all the support he has, and I can't tell you how appreciative he is. You know, every single time we tell him about how many more people that we have following us, he's just in absolute awe, and he really can't believe that he has this many people who truly believe in him and care about hearing his side of things. So it's absolutely wonderful, and again, we really appreciate everyone for that support. Another question, do we think it's going to be possible to raise up another 20K in a few days? Definitely, guys. Have you guys seen what you've already done in the last 3 weeks? We're already at $60,000 or over. Sorry, we're over that. We're almost at 70,000. I'm sorry, I forgot our number. Jeez. But I will tell you that you guys have actually crushed it. But the only way that we're going to continue to get that money and raise up the money that we need in time is if we continue to donate, we share his pages, and we tell his story. So please continue to donate to his Fundly and go get funding. Both are under Save Wade Stephen Wilson. And make sure you share it out that you're donating. We're also going to make sure that we get back to posting all of the thank yous. And we're sorry about the delays. It's been a little bit crazy for us, constantly fighting out fires. And when Wade got all of his privileges revoked, we've really been just focusing the last week on trying to figure out what we can do to get those reinstated. So we're definitely going to, like I said, I'm not even going to say if it's possible. We are going to raise up the additional $20,000 that we need in the next few days. We know we're going to do it, and we're going to do it with your support. All right, still going through some more questions here, guys, but I want to see some more blue hearts. Where are the blue hearts at here for Wade? Let's make sure that we get those blue hearts out here. Continue to share this live. Continue to do all of this. It's absolutely wonderful. Again, we appreciate you guys so much for being flexible here today. Another question coming in, do we ship merchandise internationally? We do currently for the wristbands. We are unable to for the hats and the shirts, unfortunately, just due to the cost of shipping. We may try to figure something out, but again, we found that to ship internationally, it's upwards of $30 to $50 per shipment. And we really want to try to make this as affordable as possible for Wade supporters. So right now, the wristbands can be shipped internationally. We're going to be utilizing USPS for all of the shipping because that's how we were able to cut the prices and costs down. But we're going to make sure that, again, that we continue to ship out the wristbands, and then the hats and shirts will just only be for the U.S. How do we address the handwritten letters? What we'll do, guys, is we'll post that to our page by tomorrow, how you can address the handwritten letters to Wade. Again, I want to reiterate that I cannot guarantee that he's going to get these letters right now or that he will get them in at all. It just depends ultimately on if his privileges are given back. We don't necessarily know if he is even able to get in letters at this time. So, we do want to make sure that you're aware that definitely still send them, and we'll make sure that we post that information on how you can send him the letters. Another question is, will he get his phone email privileges on death row?
Yes, so I've done a lot of extensive research into this, and they do ultimately have phone and email privileges, but it's not quite as often or as common. There's what they call a day room, where he will have kiosks available. Well, he will be able to make phone calls, or tablets as well, phone calls and send emails, but it's only for a limited portion of the day. So he will ultimately have his phone and email privileges back if he does go to death row. Again, this is an if. If he goes to life in prison, then he will still have the phone and email privileges. And one other thing that I want to reiterate to you guys too, no matter what, Wade is going to be kept safe, whether he is on death row or if he gets life in prison. This has been a question here. Because Wade is considered a public figure now, he will be eligible for protective custody. So that means that he will be safe no matter where he goes, at least until we can get him through the appeals process and we can prove his innocence and get him out of prison and get him free. So just want to reiterate, guys, that he is going to be protected as well when he is in prison because he's considered a public figure. Oh, and that was the next question. Will they put him in protective custody? Yes, already answered that. Next question, new legal team. I know we've already covered this, guys, but we want to reiterate, we still need about $20,000. We need to get to $90,000 before we can actually retain a good lawyer. Again, we don't want to go with a bare-ass minimum lawyer. We want to make sure that we get him the absolute best appeals lawyer in the state of Florida to cover his next step of his case. So we have been in talks. We have some that we are ready to secure just as soon as that we can get the remaining money. So ideally, guys, we got to get this done by Friday so we can get the steps in motion, so that we can get them there by the next day, so that they can start taking over his case immediately. Are they looking into the death penalty law that was passed in correlation to his case? 100% yes. Wade should be grandfathered into the previous death penalty law, which means that it had to be a unanimous vote. That's one thing that unfortunately his lawyers did not address until it was too late. The motion that they filed about that was filed at the incorrect time. So I will tell you that he should be grandfathered into the previous, and there's actually a news article that we will make sure that we post as well too here, so you guys can read it, about another inmate that was ultimately sentenced, or was supposed to be potentially sentenced to death row, and the judge actually determined that he would not be eligible for it and that he would be grandfathered into the previous rules because he was charged with those crimes before the death penalty change. It's asked, the next question, will the team be at sentencing? We will let you know that we are lucky enough that we will have a few of our team members available at sentencing. We're not going to disclose who it will be for our safety, but we do plan to have a few team members there at sentencing, again, to show our support. Do you know where and what time we can watch the Spencer hearing? Yes, definitely. I'm so happy this was asked. So, the Spencer hearing should be televised on both Court TV, which has had his case, as well as Law and Crime Network on YouTube. So Court TV, I believe, can be found on YouTube, or they have an app. Law and Crime, I've specifically only really seen through YouTube, but it's going to be at 9 a.m. They normally do start at right around 9 a.m. in the morning. And as a reminder, Spencer hearing is at 9 a.m. on next Tuesday, the 27th. And then at 2 p.m. is going to be sentencing. We did pin this one, but when was the last time we spoke to Wade? The last time that we had any contact with Wade was on Saturday, August 10th at 4:15 p.m. because we were actually on the phone with him when he had his phone taken away by the corrections officers. And I can tell you that there was absolutely no reason given as to why his phone was being taken away, and we're going to cover that in one of our next lives once Wade is in a safer area. Will he ever get face-to-face visitation in person? He definitely will get face-to-face visitation in person, whether he is on death row or if he's sentenced to life in prison. So it's a little bit different. Now, Wade does have to approve of all of his visitors, so please just don't think that you can just show up at the prison and request to see him. There's a visitation process that has to go through, and he has to approve you himself and actually submit the documents.
So they do allow face-to-face visitation. It's a little bit different for death row versus life. But he will, luckily, and we did find out that those visits ultimately would be contact, so he's not going to have to do them behind a glass. He's going to be able to get hugs. He's going to be able to have love shown to him, and he's going to actually be able to feel like a person again while he's going through the appeals process. Now, another question is, will we address the jail calls being released? We're going to actually address those calls, guys, on Sunday on our next live. So stay tuned for that. There was just too much information to go over tonight, but we do want to make sure that we get you guys some answers there on those jail calls. No matter what, I want to remind you, though, that it is extremely unfair to the individuals who have been on those jail phone calls because they have not had their own authorization to be on it. So I know you've seen a couple recently with Kristen on there, and we feel absolutely horrible that she's going through this and being put through this because we all make mistakes in our lives, right? And we all continue to grow and learn from our mistakes, and it's not fair for us to ultimately put somebody out there that hasn't given authorization for it to be utilized. We're also going to address the Joey phone calls, but again, we're going to do that next Sunday, or on this coming Sunday on the 25th. We're going to address the phone calls then. Can the judge deny a new lawyer? Nope, absolutely not. Cannot deny a new lawyer. As soon as the appeals process starts, and again, you guys are going to learn more about this on Sunday. We're going to do a huge education system on the appeals process and what the next steps entail. But the judge absolutely cannot deny a new lawyer. And actually, the Judge Thompson, will not even be involved in the appeals process. So it says, how is he doing emotionally and how is he doing on last Saturday when we last spoke to him? You know, it's hard to say how he's doing emotionally, but I can tell you that our team member who went today said that they could tell that once they saw him that his spirits truly were high and that he felt the love and support that he has had from not only his team, but from everyone across the world. So I can let you know that it's hard to say emotionally, but I can tell you that Wade himself is very resilient and he knows that we're fighting for him so hard out here. And I know that's what's keeping him going on a daily basis, although he cannot speak to us right now. So, I'll let you guys come to your own conclusions about the emotionally how he's doing, because if I was in that situation as well, I think it would be pretty tough being honest with you and being transparent. But if I knew that I had all of the support from everybody that he's had the support from, I'd feel pretty damn good. All right, guys. Well, I think that's about most of the questions that we've had come in. And I think it's about time that we unfortunately have to wrap up our live event. But again, this is not the end for Wade. Just because his motion for a new trial and acquittal were denied, that does not mean that we end our fight here. Instead, we start the appeal process to overturn this conviction and to get Wade the new trial that he deserves to prove his innocence in all of this. So we just want to wrap up here by saying, and I want to see some more blue hearts coming out here, guys. Come on, let's see some more blue hearts in the comments section as we wrap it up here tonight. I want to see as many as possible for Wade. But on our next live, we're going to do another update on Wade. We're also going to review the Florida appeals process so we can educate everybody on what the next steps are going to be after sentencing is completed on Tuesday, the 27th at 9 a.m. And then we're also going to debunk some more rumors because there's still plenty more for us to be able to debunk. It's insane. And we're also going to do another live questions and answers. So come prepared with your questions because we're ready to answer them. And again, next time too, we'll give you more information. We're going to do another live event after Wade is sentenced. And we're going to give you some more in-depth information on how he has been mistreated at that jail and everything that he has gone through. But again, we want to wait a little bit longer before we do that. So from all of us here at Team Wade, again, I'm Marie, and I really want to thank you guys all so much for joining us today. Don't forget to sign the petitions. We have 24 hours, not even, before we have to submit them to the lawyers to be presented in court on Tuesday. So please continue to push out those petitions. Get everyone to sign. Get your family to sign. Get your friends to sign. Get your coworkers to sign. Whoever it is, I don't care. Get them to sign that petition. We also want to make sure that you remember to donate to his Fundly and Go Get Funding account under Save Wade Stephen Wilson. This is the only way that we are going to be able to afford to hire him the best appeals lawyer in the state of Florida. Again, guys, we need about $20,000 more, and I know with your support that we can do this. We're not going to let Wade down. That's not who we are. We're going to fight until the very end. Again, everybody, thank you so much for joining here tonight. I really appreciate you being flexible and adjusting to all of the issues. We're going to post this recording by tomorrow. We hope you have a good night. And from Team Wade and from Wade ourselves, we love you so, so much, and we appreciate you beyond belief. Let's continue to fight for our boys, and let's get it, ladies. Let's do it. We've got this. We'll talk soon. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being patient. I think we're figuring out these technical difficulties, and I'm so sorry again. You can tell that this isn't my day job. So I'm hoping that you guys can hear me. Just give us a couple minutes, okay? All right. Trying this one last time, guys. I unfortunately don't think I can share my screen here today and have our nice little backdrop. I think that's what's messing up my microphone. So one more time, just want to make sure. Can everybody hear me okay? Yay, wonderful. All right. I'm so sorry again, guys. Thanks for being patient. As you know, this is Marie, and welcome to another live event that we have here today. We are so excited to see you joining us again. And on behalf of Wade and Team Wade, thanks for taking some time out of your Sunday to chat with us. Now we're going to get right into things here clearly because we're already starting a little bit late today. And I love seeing all the blue hearts coming through in the chat. Let's keep seeing those blue hearts come through. Let's also make sure that we keep sharing this on the social media platforms. I know it's a little bit different because we've normally been on TikTok, but we had to switch up gears a little bit. So, like I said, guys, please continue to share this live stream out. And as a reminder, as always, we're going to make sure that we have this recorded so that we can send this over after to our social media pages so you guys can rewatch it again. All right. Working through the difficulties, let's get started. I am seeing some comments coming in right now, guys. Yes, the screen is going to remain gray. Anytime I try to share my screen right now, my microphone is going off for some reason. So I apologize about that. But again, we're going to get started and get rolling here because we have a lot on our agenda for today. So as normal, first, before we actually get started here, I do want to make sure that we outline what we're going to be covering, okay? So today we're going to start off with another update on Wade. As normal, we all want to talk and we all want to, definitely hear about Wade. After that, we're going to cover the appeal process. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what's going to be happening after Tuesday's sentencing. What are the next steps? Because we want to make sure that everyone has the right information and that they're aware that our fight does not stop after Tuesday. So if anything, it's just going to continue on and we're going to continue to be resilient, right? Because we're Wade's Army here. I think I saw someone with the name of that donating the other day and I liked it a lot. So we're Wade's Army here and we're going to continue to fight on for him. After we do the appeals process and review that, then we're going to take some time to go over debunking a few more rumors that are going on. And then after we debunk rumors, we're just going to kind of wrap up from there, guys, and we're going to talk about what our plan of action is next. So bear with me just 1 second while I get my notes all pulled up here. I want to make sure that nothing is going to freeze on us again. And again, guys, I want to keep seeing. All right, guys. Well, I think it's about time we get started here. Again, I know we've already taken up a half hour of our time, and we have a really big agenda to go over today that we're excited to speak to you about. Again, this is Marie, and on behalf of not only Wade himself, on behalf of Team Wade as well, we really want to thank you for taking some time out of your Sunday afternoon or evening, depending on where you are around the world, or I guess early afternoon, just taking some time to be able to chat with us for a little bit. I want to be able to go over first what we're going to cover today here. And then after that, we're going to get started. So, of course, as always, we're going to start with an update on Wade because he's our number one favorite person here. And I know everyone is curious about how he is doing. We're going to then go into depth and review the appeals process. So more or less what's going to happen after sentencing on Tuesday. So we're going to review that next. And I hope you're ready because there's a lot of information we're going to go over. So buckle in. After that, we're going to debunk a few more rumors that are going around, and then we're going to kind of wrap on up after that, talking about what our plans are going to be next and when you guys can expect to hear from us. So, without further ado, let's start with our update on Wade. So, to be honest with you, we don't have too much of an update. Wade still does not have his phone or email back. So we have not been able to speak with him directly. Now, I will tell you, though, the good news is that we did receive a letter from him earlier this week. I know we did post that to our social media platforms and you were able to see. But we did ultimately, like I said, add him, receive a letter from him. We do not know, though, if he is receiving any of the letters that we've written or that any of his supporters have written. So I just want to be honest and transparent. Definitely continue to try to send those in. I know he loves getting the mail. We're not sure, though, yet if he is getting ours. Now, I can tell you that, as you guys saw in his letter, he's keeping as upbeat and positive as possible. He did express to us that he is staying strong mentally and truly appreciates all of the support that he continues to receive across the world. So 100% your support, and he can feel the love that's coming to him directly from each and every one of you. So we really want to thank you again, because without you, this isn't possible. And without you believing in Wade and believing in his innocence, we wouldn't be able to do this job every single day. Now, I will tell you, though, not having communication, he has been taking a toll on him. But again, we're hoping here that sooner rather than later, he will have his phone and email privileges restored, or at least we're hoping that he is getting in our letters. So that's kind of our update on him. I'm sorry. I wish that we had more information to give, and I'm hoping after his sentencing on Tuesday that we will have more information to give. Now, it's time to jump into the really important stuff here, guys. And as I mentioned, we're really going to take a very, very deep dive today into the appeals process and more or less what's going to happen after his sentencing is completed on Tuesday. Now, I want to give you a reminder that just because his motion for a new trial and acquittal was denied, that doesn't mean that he can't get a new trial. I can't express that enough here, guys. That does not mean that he cannot get a new trial. What that means ultimately is that the current judge denied that opportunity. So we're going to have to go to the appeals process next, which is what we were expecting, so that Wade does have the opportunity to be able to tell his truth and tell his story. Okay? Now, after sentencing is completed on Tuesday, Wade's current lawyer, Lee Hollander, is going to have to file a notice of appeal on Wade's behalf. Now, filing a notice of appeal, that means that they're going to be taking the case, not them specifically, but Wade's new attorney, once we do have them secured, they are going to be taking the case to the next step of the process, which is to appeal his conviction. Once the notice of appeal is filed, then they're going to have to request for the trial transcripts to be released for the next attorney who's going to take over. Now, the trial transcripts, more or less, it's going to be a clerk in the 20th Circuit, which is where Wade was previously being tried in his court case. They're going to get what they call a record of appeal, which is considered the guidebook and the Bible for Wade's case and trial. So it has all of the nitty-gritty information in there, everything from A to Z. Now, it's going to take approximately 6 weeks in order to get the trial transcripts. So we do still have some time to be able to get a new attorney appointed, where by the time we get those trial transcripts, they're going to be ready to go, and hopefully even sooner than that, because technically they can get started as soon as we can secure one. But as a reminder, guys, we really can't secure
an attorney for Wade at this time until we're able to get to at least $90,000. That's going to be at least the deposit that we have to put down as a retainer for one of the attorneys that we are speaking with currently. So we're really close. I believe we're just under $18,000 shy of our goal. And again, we still have time to be able to get this done. It is not too late. We just have to continue to have the support on our fundraising pages through both Fundly and Go Get Funding. And as a reminder, you can find it directly under Save Wade Stephen Wilson. So as I mentioned, it's going to take about 6 weeks for us to be able to get in those new trial and then to get in the trial transcripts. And on top of it, we've been saving all of the documentation that you, the supporters, have been sending in to us. So we are keeping all of this documentation together. Please continue to send that into our email, our social media pages. We love it. It doesn't matter if we have already received it. We are saving everything so that as soon as we do have a new attorney, we're going to be able to provide to them all of the documentation and all of the proof as well, too, as to why Wade deserves a new trial. Now, I want to go a little bit more into what the actual appeal process looks like in the first appeal, which is ultimately called the direct appeal. Now, the direct appeal, the whole idea of this is to point out specifically the errors that were made by the judge and possibly prosecution in Wade's previous case and trial. The first appeal, unfortunately, we did find out it cannot be focused on the errors of his previous attorneys, Lee and Kevin. Now, if we do, for some reason, lose on this first appeal, which we feel very confident that we're going to be successful in that first appeal, then what we can do after the fact is file what we call a post-conviction motion, which is going to focus then specifically on the errors that were made on his previous lawyers, Lee and Kevin. But like I said, that's going to be kind of that second appeal process. We know and we are for sure going to win this first appeals process for Wade. Now, the whole goal of the direct appeal is to get the conviction overturned and to get Wade a new trial. You guys know that is our number one priority here. Get his conviction overturned, get Wade a new trial so that ultimately he can tell his story, tell his truth, and we can show that he is innocent in this. Now, what's a little bit different about the direct appeal is that contrary to an actual trial, majority of the direct appeal is actually done in writing. Now, there can be some oral arguments that are included in there, but majority of this is actually going to be done in writing. And it's, again, going to be there to point out the faults that the judge made and possibly the prosecution. Now, once we are able to secure a new attorney, they are going to file what they call a notice of appearance with Wade to establish themselves as his new appeals attorney. Again, we're going to make sure that those trial transcripts or the record of appeal, that Bible of Wade's case, we're going to make sure that those are all obtained by the new attorney. And once they do receive those trial transcripts and the record of appeal, that's when the clock starts running. That's when they have to start really pushing and diving into all of that material. The new attorney is going to take the time to review everything about Wade's case, going to review all of the trial transcripts from front to back, including the record of appeal. And what they will do is they will initially create what is called an initial brief. Now, it's called an initial brief, guys, but these are actually pretty long. They're normally about 50 to 70 pages long, we found out. And there's typically two parts to that initial brief. There's the facts section, and then what they call the argument section. The facts section is more or less going to state everything that went wrong based off of the judge in the court proceedings. The argument section is going to provide more context to that as well. Once that initial brief is submitted by Wade's new attorney, then the state is going to submit what they call an answer brief. Now, what's a little bit different is that this case then at that point is going to be handled by the Assistant Attorney General.
And the Assistant Attorney General is going to have to respond to each and every claim that is made by Wade's new attorney about what went wrong in his case when it comes, again, to the judge and to the prosecution. Now, I will tell you that truly there's only one point that's needed in order to get Wade a new trial, but it's going to be up to what they call the appellate attorney. It's going to be up to them to be able to figure out as many problems that occurred, because, as you know, more information that we have, the better, right, to be able to fight this. Now, once the Assistant Attorney General submits their answer brief, then the appeals lawyer is going to be able to have the opportunity to have the last word, and they can file a reply brief to respond to the state's answer brief. I know this is a lot I'm throwing at you, so I hope you're able to kind of keep track with all of this. But again, the good news is Wade's future appeals lawyer is going to be able to have the last word and the last say in this appeals process. Now, once all three of those briefs are completed, so again, the first one's going to be the initial brief, which is going to be completed by the new appeals lawyer. Then it's going to be the answer brief, which is completed by the Assistant Attorney General for the state. And then finally, it's going to end with another reply brief by the appeals lawyer. So once all three of those briefs are completed, they are then going to be submitted to the appellate court. Now, the appellate court is going to be 3 appellate judges, which will be selected at complete random. It's honestly like a random computer generated. It's going to select 3 judges, 3 appellate judges in the state of Florida to be able to review this case and review the appeal. Now, there's about 13 appellate judges in the state of Florida. And again, it's going to be a random draw. So we won't even know. And honestly, Wade's future attorney probably also won't even know as well, unless they actually go to an oral argument. Normally, these are completely submitted not knowing, because they don't want to have any type of preconceived notion coming into it. Now, the whole idea is that the appeals lawyer that'll be working with Wade, it is their job that they have to convince 2 of these 3 judges that the judge in Wade's case, Judge Thompson, made significant errors, right? Again, guys, you technically only need 1 significant error to be presented in order to be able to get this overturned. But we want to make sure that we have as many listed as possible to give Wade his best fighting chance at a new trial. Now, again, guys, this is where you all come in, because you guys have been wonderful finding out all of the information on the internet. Please continue to review all of Wade's case. Let us know if you see any errors that you believe that may have been made by the judge or in the court proceedings. We want to have this information so that we can make the job even easier for Wade's future appeals lawyer. Now, again, if at least 2 of these judges agree that there were significant errors made, this should result in, and ideally it will result in, a new trial being granted for Wade. So again, we just have to convince 2 of the 3 appellate judges that Wade deserves a new trial based off of the errors that were made by the previous judge, Judge Thompson, and the prosecution. Now, once all the information is reviewed through the briefs and potentially, as I mentioned, oral arguments, the judges will then deliberate, and then they will do what they will either affirm or they will reverse. Now, affirm means that they would confirm that Wade had a fair trial, which I think you guys all know that he didn't. He did not even have a chance. Or what we're hoping for is that they're going to reverse. And by reversing, that means that they're going to be overturning that conviction in order to get him a new trial. From what we've researched and what we've heard, this process, the appeals process, normally takes about a year to complete. Understandably, there can be circumstances that can cause it to go longer. But the initial appeals process is probably going to take at least a year to complete. And then, like I said, guys, at the very end, we're then going to hope that we're able to get Wade a new trial. and then that new trial process will begin at that time. Now, God forbid, guys, if we're unsuccessful, and I have faith, I know we're going to be successful, and I'm going to put my money on it. If we are unsuccessful, as I mentioned before, that's when we'll go into the next set of the appeals process, which is considered the post-conviction motion, which will focus on the errors made by Lee and Kevin. Again, we here at Team Wade, and even speaking with Wade, we feel very confident that we are going to win this appeal on the very first process. But again, we can't do that if we don't have an attorney that's ultimately going to be able to do this appeal for Wade, or at least an attorney that's going to truly fight for him and not another one through the state. So only way that we can continue to fight for Wade and make sure that he gets the representation that he deserves is to continue to donate to his Fundly account, as well as his Go Get funding. And again, you can find it under the name Save Wade Stephen Wilson. These are the only verified accounts verified fundraising sites that the money is going directly towards an appeals lawyer for Wade in the next step of his process. Now, when we are successful, guys, with getting him a new trial after this first appeal, again, we're going to start the process all over again here. Now, the good news is that when Wade is granted a new trial, it's going to be in a different jurisdiction. It'll have different judge, different jurors. And again, the case instead is going to be handled by the Attorney General's office, not the Assistant State Attorney like it was in his previous case. So we're going to get Wade a fighting chance to be able to prove his innocence in a different jurisdiction where there's not quite as much bias. It's still going to be in the state of Florida, but again, it's going to get him a change of venue, which is the most important thing. Now, one thing I do want to stress and reiterate is that Wade is still going to be in prison during this entire process. There is no way that he will be let out by any means until this entire process is completed and until he is able to go through a brand new trial. So after his sentencing on Tuesday, again, depending on what the outcome is, he will go to more or less one of two places. And we wanted to inform you on where he may be going. Now, if he is unfortunately sentenced to death, which I want everyone to be prepared because there is a good possibility that could occur on Tuesday. But if he is sentenced to death, Wade will go directly to death row, which is going to be at the Union Correctional Institution in Rayford, Florida. That is where all of the death row inmates are currently housed, the male inmates. Again, guys, we're really hoping that's not the case. So on the other end, if Wade is sentenced to life until, again, we can go through the new trial, what he would do is go to what we call a reception center first. And then after that, he would be transferred to another prison in Florida. We're just unsure of which one that could be. Now, to put you guys at ease and to make sure that we're calming down your nerves, we have confirmed with several sources that since Wade is considered a public figure, he will be able to be kept in protective custody. So you do not have to worry about whether or not he is going to be safe, whether he is sentenced to death or sentenced to life in prison. Again, we have confirmed that he will be able to be kept in protective custody while he goes and awaits his new trial and goes through his appeal process. So I hope that eases a lot of your fears. I see some comments coming in. And let's see some more blue hearts in there, guys. Let's see some more blue hearts in the comments here. We want to make sure that we see that support for Wade. And again, I know that was a lot of information that I reviewed with you with the appeals process. Of course, if you have continuing questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us on our verified social media accounts. Again, on Instagram and TikTok, it's going to be Wade Stephen Wilson Official. On Facebook, it's Wade Stephen Wilson. And then you're also willing or open to always emailing us. It's going to be wadewilson.worldwide@gmail.com. So if you have any additional questions on the appeals process, if it was a little bit confusing because I know I threw a lot of information at you, just feel free to reach on out. We're always happy and willing to answer any questions that you do have. So I wanted to go next and reiterate again about a potential new attorney. Now, I know we talked about this on our last live, but I just wanted to give a heads up and an update for those who were not able to join. Again, we have reached out and we are in communication with several very reputable firms in Florida, but we need some more money still to put down a deposit in order to retain that attorney. Our goal right now is that we need to get up to $90,000. So we're just a little bit under $18,000 short right now of our goal in order to secure an actual appeals attorney. Now, as a reminder, though, these lawyer costs can be upwards of $150,000 to $250,000. So the $90,000 is going to be a nice deposit that we can put down while we work to continue to increase our donation so that we can afford to pay for the rest of that appeals lawyer. No matter what, we're going to figure it out, though, here for Wade, because he deserves it and he deserves to have proper representation. As a reminder that not every attorney can handle these cases. They have to be death penalty certified, especially if that's what the outcome ends up being on Tuesday. And I just wanted to give a reminder that we have spoken with the Baez law firm. We have been in contact with them, and you'll see that on our social media pages on our last live that we did do. You'll see that in the notes that we have that the Baez law firm stated that they would not be able to take on Wade's case if he is sentenced to death. Again, you'll see those comments in our previous live that we did have in the email threads. Now, if he's sentenced to life, it's definitely a possibility, but we're hoping that we don't have to wait until that day in order to get an attorney locked in for Wade. We've been in some great negotiations. We just need to see those donations continuing to come through so that we can make sure that we can put down the proper deposit and the new attorney can get started right away. Moving on next, guys, we're going to go and debunk some rumors here. So I know we covered some of them last week. We're going to cover some more this week here. And we're going to continue to debunk rumors as we do more of these live events because we want you to know what the truth is. And we want to make sure that we're here to lay it out for you, okay? So the first rumor that we're going to debunk are these jail calls. So we're going to finally address the phone calls from prison that have been released. These calls, ultimately, I want to remind you, have almost nothing to do with Wade's current case and trial. And these phone calls that are being released are more or less for public humiliation of individuals through social media. These calls are being published specifically to continue to defame Wade's character and the character of those that are involved. Now, we are working with some of the individuals who have been involved with these calls because we want to make sure that they can take the proper legal action because it's not fair to them, right? Again, these calls do not have anything to do, or most of them have nothing to do with Wade's case, and it's just here to more or less make fun of the people that he has associated with and continues to associate with, and that's not fair. I know for me, it doesn't make me feel good, and I feel very sorry for those who have been involved in these phone calls being released because it's private conversations that you hope would stay. But again, unfortunately, because all jail phone calls are released, are recorded, it is considered public information, and these calls can be pulled. Now, what we did find out, though, is that there are certain exemptions under the Freedom of Information Act. That's FOIA. You'll see the FOIA. There are certain exemptions that we have found which do prevent these calls from being released to the public if it is going to cause an invasion of privacy for the other parties involved. And I think you guys would agree with me that this has been a huge invasion of privacy for anybody that has been involved in this case. As as a reminder too, we just wanted to send out a precaution here. This is an ongoing court case, and it's going to continue to go on through the appeals process and through Wade getting a new trial. And to all the social media content creators who are involving themselves in the releases of these calls, they can be held liable for this. Another thing we want to remind you too is we all know what artificial intelligence or AI can do, so please be careful with what you believe. We aren't even for sure that these calls are actually the calls that they've had in the conversations. There's a good chance that some of these have been altered. So just want to give you guys that reminder as well. Okay. Now, the next rumor that we would like to debunk is specifically, again, with these calls, and specifically Wade's calls with Joey and Wade being gay. Now, I want to start this off by saying it's none of anyone's damn business what Wade's sexual orientation is, nor does it matter, as it does not change who he is as a person or pertain to his case and innocence at all. It's absolutely inappropriate, if anything, that we are making assumptions. And exactly, I've seen some comments come in. Who cares anyway what his sexual orientation would be? I don't think it changes who you are as a person. And Wade's an amazing individual. Now, I will tell you that Wade has told us on numerous occasions that he is not gay and he does not like men and that he is interested in women. But again, does it even matter anyway? Does it even matter anyway? We still love him for who he is as an individual, and that's truly all that matters in the world. I also want to tell you to put yourself in Wade's shoes, right? If you were in jail with no food and money, wouldn't you possibly do some questionable things? You know, I can honestly say that I'm not a saint, and I don't think everybody that's joining here too is a saint by any means. And I'm sure we have done things that we're not proud of. And I know that if I was in Wade's shoes and I was in desperate need and I needed attention, I would probably do the same thing. So I just want to remind you as well that who he is a person, that's truly what matters here. And Wade is a wonderful individual who cares so much about everybody that he loves, including all of his supporters. And again, these phone calls being released, everyone, are just here to defame his character and to make fun of him. And it's really sad that none of them are even truly related to his case. The last rumor that we would like to debunk is about Wade's teeth. Now, I know everybody has seen pictures, and Wade, unfortunately, at one time did have a really beautiful smile. And since then, it has become a little bit chipped and not quite where I know he wants to be. So I will tell you that Wade was not jumped by a gang of men in prison. It was not a gang of men. Wade actually got into a fight with a corrections officer when he was in prison in 2017 and 2018. And I know this because he told me it directly in the story. He got into a fight with a corrections officer, and it ultimately resulted in his teeth being messed up. But I will joke and say that he said you should have seen the other guy. So, of course, that's just Wade's behavior. He's going to try to make you laugh at any chance that you can. And I see these comments. He is still so handsome, isn't he? I mean, I think we all agree with that. And I just wanted to set the record straight here that he was not jumped by a gang of men, as it's been stated. Ultimately got into a fight with a corrections officer while he was in prison in 2017-2018 timeframe, which resulted in his teeth becoming chipped and partially knocked out. Now, as we look to go on to our questions here, guys, because, again, you guys are so awesome. You sent us in so many questions ahead of time. We're going to start answering those here shortly, and I'm going to do my best to answer as many as I can. But before we do, I wanted to end the section as a reminder here for those who are currently going on live events and discussing the details about Wade's case and trial. I cannot stress enough that his case is still ongoing and will continue to be as we go through the appeals process and his new trial to be able to prove his innocence. Those who are speaking about his case and trial and giving detailed information are putting themselves in a very compromising position because this is not over and this fight is not over. So again, we just wanted to reiterate that this is still very much an ongoing court case, and it is going to continue to go on through the appeals process and through Wade getting a new trial. All right, well, I think it's time to answer some of your questions. So I'm going to pull up my sheet here of all the questions that you guys sent in. And keep sending in your questions, because again, we're going to try to answer as many as possible. And if you do have some coming in, I'm going to try to read some through the comments as well too. So the first question we got in: can Wade work out in jail and prison? I will tell you from what my conversations are with him, he does do his best to work out in his limited capacity. Wade is kept in his cell all hours of the day, other than more or less to go out and shower and if he has any lawyer meetings. But when he is in his cell, he does try to do some forms of, lift. He's very inventive. He talks about how he uses different bags of things in order to do, like, say, biceps or triceps workouts. He tries to jog in place to get some cardio in. He does things like lunges. He does dips off of his bed. So he does try to work out, and that's definitely something that's very important to him. Even before he was in jail, Wade was very much into his physical fitness. I think you guys have seen that through pictures. So he does like to do that. Now, when he does go to prison, I will let you know that he will have more options, because he will be able to actually be let out of his cell for longer times in the day. So I know he looks forward to be able to do that. One thing I will tell you, though, that limits him is, again, his medical conditions, especially his hernia, which we are still trying to get fixed for him. That is one thing that does limit his physical ability, because he is in such excruciating pain on a daily basis. And I want to remind you that we're going to cover some of those issues that he's had while he's been in the Lee County Jail at a little bit of a later date. We just can't quite disclose that information yet, but stay tuned for one of our next lives to review that. Second question that came in: will we be able to see Wade on Tuesday after sentencing? I don't think you'll see him after, but you guys should be able to actually see him during sentencing. And what I wanted to go over with you is how you can watch Wade's sentencing, his hearing and sentencing on Tuesday. So I'm familiar with two streaming platforms. One is through Court TV. The other one is through Law and Crime on YouTube. To my understanding, that's how I have watched Wade's trial, is through those two different platforms. So you should be able to see him. He will be present. I know they will be recording on those days. Again, his Spencer hearing starts at 9 a.m. and then the actual sentencing will be at 2 p.m. So stay tuned. We're going to make sure that we post those links on how you can watch and how you can support Wade virtually. This one is Wade off the market? Is he engaged? I can tell you from what I know with Wade, he is very much single. It's a little bit hard to maintain an actual relationship when he is in jail, fighting for his life, and especially trying to prevent himself from going to death row and be sentenced to death. So my understanding, ladies, is he is very much single. I can't say what his future plans are here, but right now, in this moment in time, Wade is just really focused in on trying to save his life and make sure that he is not sentenced, like I said, to death. How is Wade feeling with his upcoming court date? Or I should say his upcoming sentencing. Just like any human being would be, and just like myself, he's definitely nervous. I want to be honest. But I think that's natural, right? And I think you all would agree with me. That's a very natural feeling. I can tell you that he is excited to get out of the Lee County Jail because of everything that has gone on there and how they have been silencing him. But he is definitely nervous. I think you guys all know it's going to be natural, right? I think I'm extremely nervous too, and I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you are feeling the nerves as well. I don't know how much I'm going to sleep over the next couple days. This is a great question. What does Wade think about all these people coming out of nowhere trashing him? Wade couldn't care less. I will tell you. He doesn't let that affect him. He's got some thick skin here. And he understands that he needs to just let it roll off of his shoulders right now. These people are going to come out of the woodwork now because they want the fame and they want the fortune behind Wade. So he said, ultimately bring it on at this point. He's not going to allow them to deter his spirit and bring him down because he knows that they're not worth his time. It's next question. I know we're not at the goal yet for a retention of a lawyer. What happens if the goal isn't met? I'm going to let you know, guys, that no matter what, we are going to retain a lawyer for Wade. Understandably, we just want to have the proper funds available to afford the best lawyer for him. We have other options that are cheaper, but I will tell you again, we don't want the bare bones options. We want the best chance for Wade to be able to go through the appeals process, win his appeal, overturn his conviction, and then be able to get a new trial. But again, we can't do that without the donations coming in. So I want to reiterate again here, and I know I probably sound like a broken record, but the way that you can best support Wade right now is by donating to his fundraising platforms that we do have. And again, 100% of the money is going directly towards a new lawyer for Wade. He is not profiting anything off of this. None of the money will be going directly to him. It is going specifically to a lawyer to be able to cover his appeals process. But our pages, again, are through Fundly and Go Get Funding. They're both going to be under Save Wade Steven Wilson, and these are the only verified fundraising campaigns that the money is going to be going directly to the lawyer. So no matter what, we are going to get a lawyer for him, but we are trying to hold out for the best one. Looking back through the questions. This is another good one. This is actually a question from Rome, Italy. So I love it. We're getting these worldwide questions. It's so much fun. I love you guys. You guys are the best. They want to know if Wade was sentenced to death, if that is the outcome on Tuesday. And it typically does take a long time before the execution would take place. On average, death row inmates are on death row for at least 20 years before they are executed, for people to know. Can anything be done during this period to change things? 100%. As I mentioned before, the appeals process is where we're headed towards next. Once we are able to get through that appeals process, we are going to get Wade a new trial because we know we're going to win that first appeal. We feel confident and strong that we're going to have enough information, not only from, again, the court records and the court transcripts that we're going to get, but also from you guys and all the information that you're sending into us on a daily basis. So we know for sure we are going to be able to change things for him until we can get him out of prison for good. Here's another one. I love this. Imagine we're living in a hypothetical and magical world where Wade is released and exonerated tomorrow. What's the first thing Wade is going to do upon release? We've actually talked about this, and there's a good chance that he's going to leave the U.S. And move somewhere else in the world. I think he definitely wants to take some time to travel. He wants to visit different countries, especially all the countries that are currently supporting him, right? So I know his plan is to probably get out of the U.S. since ultimately he hasn't had quite the best experience here, especially with law. And again, because he's been convicted of crimes that he has not committed, I think it's going to be best for him to get out of the country as well, too. Looking here. This is another good question that I'd like to address, and it goes, I believe in Wade's innocence, but why didn't he show any remorse or anything during his trial? It's hard to say, and I would prefer for you guys to hear it directly from Wade himself, but I will tell you that he has just built up, especially over the last 5 years that he has been in jail, he has built up just a stone cold exterior, right? There are so many people who have tried to scam and exploit him that he's terrified to show his emotions anymore. So he feels the need that he has to put on a strong face. because he's terrified that if he shows any emotions, how it's going to be taken. So again, guys, I don't want to necessarily speak on his behalf, but I do want to say that because of how much he has been exploited, how many people have tried to take advantage of him, he has ultimately decided to show less of his emotions because he doesn't want people to take it wrong. All right, let's see what other questions we have in here. And I'm sorry, it's been a little bit, but where are the blue hearts at? I'm seeing some of them come through, but I need to see some more blue hearts in the comments. So someone asked if he gets 3 meals a day. He does get 3 meals a day. Now, I can't tell you how big the meals are, but what he has explained to me is that they are very small and very scarce. What he normally does rely on is his canteen or his commissary, which I know you guys have donated to. Now, I will let you know, though, we did find out, actually, guys, and this kind of breaks my heart a little bit. When Wade was put into that disciplinary confinement, ultimately, and had his phone and email privileges taken away, they also took away his food. I don't know about you, but that absolutely devastates me because he's kind of living on the bare minimum right now. And again, it's just their way of controlling him and having power over him, and making sure that they can do everything in their might to silence him. But again, we're not going to let them silence him, right? He has all of us here to be able to speak his truth and tell his story. So he is holding on strong because he knows he has all of the support out here for him. Let's look and see. What other questions? This is another good one. Do his adoptive parents support him? Yes, they do. Understandably, Wade is very, very protective of his family and those that he truly trusts and loves. But I will tell you that his adoptive parents do support him. I've been in communication with them, and they very much love Wade. But understandably, they decide to stay out of the public eye because it's in their best interest right now. Another one, did the entertainer from Florida, who I'm assuming you mean Big Keen, that spoke out about wanting to support him ever end up contributing? Unfortunately, no, we still haven't heard anything from Big Keen, and if he's listening, we would appreciate any support that you can provide. He has not answered any of the messages that we've sent. We've even joined his live streams, and he's acknowledged us, but still hasn't reached out. So again, we're not going to allow someone like that to deter us. If anything, we're going to continue to partner with each and every one of you. We're going to continue to produce these live streams, give you updates on Wade too, so that we can raise up enough funds to go towards his lawyer and his future appeals process here. Can Wade be visited? I think we talked about this on our last live, but as a reminder, guys, currently in the Lee County Jail, in a county jail, Wade cannot have any in-person visitors. He can only do video visitations, which have since been taken away from him since he has had all of his communication cut off. Now, when he is transferred to prison, he should be able to do visitations in person, but you do have to be specifically added on by him and go through the process in order to be able to visit him. So please, I can't reiterate enough, please don't think that you can just show up to his prison and see him. You have to be an approved visitor on his list. He has to approve you, and you have to submit documentation, go through background check. There's quite a process to it. This is another good one. No one can touch his Fundly, right? Because there have been a lot of people stating that they're going to be giving the money to different people, and it's going to not go directly to Wade's lawyers. Again, I can't reiterate enough. This money is not going to Wade at all. He is not profiting anything off of this money. This money is being raised and is going to be paid directly to an appeals lawyer who is going to cover the next step of his process. So again, Wade is not profiting anything off of the fundraising that we are currently doing for him and that you guys are contributing to. Instead, this money is being held to be able to go towards a future attorney to support him and be able to handle his appeals process. There have been a lot of questions about how I know Wade, I'll tell you that I met Wade actually a few months ago. Once I became aware of his case, I reached out to him through Smart Inmate, like many do, many have and many continue to do. We built up a friendship and a trust from there. And honestly, actually, I'll let you know, you're going to be able to hear a little bit more about this. Just so you're aware, we actually were able to partner with Strange Embers podcast, and they're going to be releasing a little bit more about our relationship with Wade, how we know him, why we're doing what we're doing, and a little bit more about Wade's case and story. So stay tuned to Strange Embers podcast. Make sure that you subscribe to them on YouTube. They also have TikTok pages too, but they're going to be releasing here something shortly as well. And it was wonderful to partner with them to, again, be able to speak about Wade's story and his truth and why we believe he deserves a new trial. So you'll be able to hear a little bit more about our background there. Couple things that I will reiterate, because I've also seen these questions coming through, and I think this will be one of the last questions I do answer, guys, is who is part of Team Wade? I can let you know that there have been individuals that have had their information leaked as of recently, and I can tell you that they are not directly part of Team Wade, but they are part of the people who are helping to support us with our mission and our cause. Now, again, I think it's completely unfair and unjust that these individuals are being exposed because they are just trying to help someone who did not have a chance at a fair trial. And they're trying to help someone prove their innocence. So, like I said, there are individuals who are constantly doing different lives. And again, on the other end, have had their information exposed. I can tell you that they are not a part of the initial team of Team Wade. We have chosen to keep our identities anonymous, like I said, other than you guys knowing me as Marie. And that's because if we expose our identities, then people are more focused on who we are as people and trying to pull up information on us, and they're not focused on Wade and why we're here. Again, we are here to be able to get Wade a new trial, to be able to prove his innocence, and ultimately to bring the people to justice who are at fault for these murders. So we want to make sure that we are able to achieve our goals, and we do not want to distract and take away from that. All right, guys. Well, I think that's where we're going to kind of wrap it on up today. So what I want to do is kind of let you know what you can expect from us over the next week here, okay? Because it's going to be a pretty busy week. First and foremost, we are going to do another live. We're thinking it's going to be probably Friday or Saturday of this week. We're still trying to decide on a date and time. So stay tuned to our verified social media accounts. Again, on Instagram and TikTok, you can find us under Wade Stephen Wilson Official. On Facebook, Wade Stephen Wilson. We will be posting more information as to when we're going to be doing our next live, and we'll give you plenty of advance notice. And hopefully we don't have quite as many technical difficulties as we did today, but we're going to host it again on YouTube, and hopefully I'm a little bit better at it this time around. I also want to reiterate that we still have another day before we officially submit the petitions. We have 2 petitions that are out. You can find the petitions under the Let Wade Wilson Live page. So please go to that page. Make sure that you sign these petitions. We have one more day before they do have to be submitted. Let's get those shared. Let's get as many signatures on there as possible. I want to reiterate that sentencing is on this Tuesday, August 27th. 9 a.m. starts the Spencer hearing. 2 p.m. is going to be his actual sentencing, and you can watch those through Court TV or Law and Crime Network as well too on YouTube. And we're going to do our best to make sure that we post those links available for you on Tuesday. Again, stay tuned to our verified social media accounts. And I want to remind you that even after sentencing, the fight still continues on, and we're not going to stop. I've told you this plenty of times. We are a resilient crew here. We are going to continue to fight until Wade gets his opportunity and his chance at a new trial and to be able to prove his innocence. So even though the sentencing is Tuesday, we're going to continue to work just as hard, and we're going to need your support too, everyone around the world who is supporting Wade. And one last thing that I do want to reiterate, and this is going to be something that we want to involve everybody in. We are going to ask all of Wade's supporters, those who feel comfortable, and you can submit this anonymously. You don't have to put your face in the picture. But we're going to ask you to send us a picture of you either holding a sign or just a sign in general saying, "Save Wade Wilson." We want to be able to utilize this in an upcoming video that we're going to be releasing. So please send it over to our verified social media accounts. Send it over to our email address that we've also mentioned, the Wade Wilson worldwide@gmail.com. But please send us in your pictures of you, like I said, with a Save Wade Wilson sign. You can just have a sign, whatever that looks like. We want to see all of the supporters so that we can include you in an upcoming video of ours. And we're excited to be able to release that. Now, as I wrap on up here today, guys, I want to reiterate again that you can continue to support Wade by donating through his verified fundraising platforms on both Fundly and Go Get Funding. It's going to be under Save Wade Stephen Wilson. That's going to be the best way that you can continue to support him right now as we look to secure an appeals lawyer to take on the next step of his process. Again, make sure that you follow all of our verified social media accounts, Instagram and TikTok. It's under Wade Stephen Wilson Official. Facebook, it's Wade Stephen Wilson. For more updates, we're going to be posting quite a bit this week as we head into his sentencing on Tuesday. And last but not least, finally, from all of us here at Team Wade, on Wade's behalf, I'm Marie, and thanks again for joining us here today. We look forward to connecting with you again here throughout the week, and thanks for spending some of your time, some of your Sunday here with us. We love you guys so much, and let's finish out with a bunch of blue hearts in the comments. Let's see those come through. Talk to you soon, guys. Thanks again. This endeavor together and started Team Wade. Now, understandably, as over time as his popularity grew, so did our team, because you can't necessarily have a team with just one individual, right? So we love our team members, but I will say I probably do speak the most with him about these situations, just because we truly have built that trusting relationship that has lasted for several months now. Our team is wonderful, though. They work 24/7, and we honestly couldn't do it without them. I know I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to keep, especially not having the communication with him right now. And really our main goal, again, is we're here to prove Wade's innocence, to tell his truth, truly get him a new and a fair trial, and to get him released from prison for these crimes that he did not commit, that we all fully believe in. We're not here to sexualize Wade, and we're not here because he's an attractive man. I don't think anybody will doubt that he's not. But you can see from our official social media pages that we're really focused on just telling his story and fighting for him to receive a fair trial. You know, I can't even express the amount of messages, honestly, that we receive on a daily basis, both positive and negative. There's been a lot of hatred and anger being directed not only towards Wade, but also our team, and even his supporters on a daily basis. It's been increasingly clear that public opinion is very skewed, and many are losing sight of the core issue at hand, which is ultimately the fact that Wade just deserves a fair and new trial, right? I don't think we can disagree on that. Now, again, many people believe that our support for Wade is just solely because of his appearance. And again, I can assure you that this is far from the truth. And that's why if you go to our verified social media accounts, you're not going to see these thirst traps, which, don't get me wrong, we think they're very funny and they're entertaining to watch. But you're not going to see those coming on our pages, because we're here, again, to be focused on telling Wade's story and to get him a fair trial. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of our supporters, they've been absolutely incredible. But there's a global community of individuals who, there's a couple different things that they're focused on. One, many of them oppose the death penalty in general and don't believe in that. Two, they recognize the numerous inconsistencies in his case and the significant errors that have been made by not only his legal team, but the court proceedings as well. And then a third, they just believe that everyone, regardless of the crimes they're accused of, deserves a fair and impartial trial. I think the biggest thing that has directed a lot of hate and anger towards our way is the spreading of misinformation, speculation, defamation, harassment, and privacy invasions, which I'm sure you've seen. There's a lot that's going on social media right now about that. It's honestly reached alarming levels, and some social media platforms are even allowing it to occur on a daily basis. So I would say that that's probably causing a lot of that hatred and anger that's being directed our way, but I can't say we're allowing it to bother us. I am. We've been doing a lot of research on that, trust me. Yeah, I would love to discuss this honestly, because this is definitely something that we have been looking into. understandably, everyone is very familiar with the phone calls that are being released. Now, FOIA does allow for these calls to be released to the public when paid for and requested. So that's not anything shocking. But I think what's more interesting is the fact that the calls that are being released have almost nothing to do with Wade's actual case and are just instead an invasion of privacy, and they're working defaming his character. So I find that very interesting that we're choosing to focus on those versus one that actually might deal with specifically his case. Now, these jail calls, I want to remind people, they're recorded and are intended for law and legal purposes only in case the jail or prisons require them and need that information. But specifically with this exemption that you stated before, as you mentioned, these calls cannot be released and utilized if that information is going to invade another individual's personal privacy. They're doing exactly that. They are affecting the individuals who are involved. And I will tell you that we have been in communication with those individuals and how they can take action going forward, and we're helping them with that process. These creators need to remember that this is an ongoing court case, especially as we are ready here to start the appeals process, and they're ultimately interjecting in it. They're making themselves liable with their involvement. And we just wanted to send a message as a reminder that things like this will not continue. We've been learning quite a bit with all the research we've been doing. And again, we want to be able to help the people too who are having their privacy invaded with these phone calls being released, because they also have lives too, right? And who they were several years ago does not necessarily mean they're the same person today. And we want to be here to help them along the way, because it is unfair that their names are being dragged through the mud. We're human, we live and we learn, right?
Hey everybody, this is Amanda. Team Wade asked me to conduct Jesse's interview tonight, so we are going to be questions that you guys sent in to the Wade official email. Jesse, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate it.
Of course. I'm just going to jump in to the first question. Could you please explain the following? Courtney was in the beginning with the support for Wade. Then she turned around and stopped supporting at the same time that she has a phone conversation with Wade. E-message contact with Wade that she publishes on TikTok is a statement. Now all of a sudden she claims that we should demand our money back from Fundly. Can you just simply answer whether she is or is not in support of Wade? It is very confusing to why Wade is speaking with her.
I'm not going to speak to where Courtney lies. I think that's for you to be able to judge based off of watching her live events. What I will say is that I was wrong to go into her house without her knowing my actual name, especially being around her children. It was not the right decision to make, and at the time, what I was concerned about was my safety, and I don't want to make up any excuses for it. It was wrong, and I apologize for my actions and for my choices. I know I wouldn't want that done to me, and it's definitely something that I wish I could take back and been honest about.
I think that's a very respectful answer, and I appreciate you answering that, because I'm sure that was hard to get out there. So question 2 says, does Wade answer messages from the Securus app? I sent him 3 or 4 messages and he did not reply back yet.
Wade does respond to messages. I will tell you, though, that the Securus app in the system is extremely flawed. An example that I can give you is that, like yesterday, I just got in messages from him from September 3rd. So it's really weird how they accept and approve messages, and every single message that he sends out and that he receives has to be reviewed through like a computer system, to my understanding, and then they'll flag certain ones and they'll have to actually manually review it. So I can tell you he does do his best to respond to questions that are sent to him, but we have to remember the fact that he's one individual and he has thousands of messages that are coming into him on a daily basis. And I know if I was in his shoes, I would be extremely overwhelmed with the amount of messages, especially since he's still getting used to the new facility that he's in and his new routine. So we just ask that you're patient. Wade's trying his absolute best here right now, and he's not going to be able to respond to every single message. I hope you understand that. Not that he doesn't want to, but it's really overwhelming. And I know for me mentally, I don't think I would be able to handle that many people reaching out.
Absolutely. It's very understandable. So question 3, how is Wade doing? What does he do with his day?
How is Wade doing? So I think he's doing honestly as best as he physically can. I want to remind people that he's still on death row, right? It's not glitzy, it's not glamorous. He has no air conditioning. He lives in a very tiny cell, and he's in that cell for, to my understanding, 24 hours a day right now. Now, um, for those who don't know, Wade has actually been put into heightened security at this time. So it is like the most maximum security that you can possibly be in at Union Correctional Institution. So he does not leave his cell. He does not get to go to his day room, nothing like that. He's literally stuck there every single day. And some days he doesn't even get to leave there at all. So I think he's honestly doing as best as he could being stuck in a small room. I don't know how you would feel, but I know how I would feel about the situation. So he does best with his days of, he tries to make sure that he keeps his brain active. He watches a lot of movies. He's been reading quite a bit. And he's just been doing his best to try to get used to his new circumstances and the situation that he's in, at least for the time being.
All right. I want to add in a question that you can choose to use or not, but is there a way that his supporters could send him reading material, like brand new book shipped from a bookstore, like directly from the, the store itself, obviously brand new books and packaging, so that, his supporters can send him stuff to read?
Yes, 100%. And I know that he would love that. So I love that you asked that question, honestly. So there was a book company, but I haven't been able to really get in touch with the woman. She kind of stopped answering me, and I'm not too sure why. But he did say that there's a way that you can ship books to him directly from Amazon. Now, you have to remember that not every single book will be approved by the prison. So just be cognizant on what ones you're sending. But what we'll make sure we do is we'll get that information and we'll post it on his official pages, so that everybody can start sending him books. Trust me, the more the merrier. I know he's excited to be able to read as much as possible, and he really likes honestly all genres. So books, magazines. He likes doing crossword puzzles as well too. So please feel free to send him in anything. I know he'll be extremely appreciative of it.
Awesome. I think that's an awesome way for his supporters to be able to help him, at this time. And I'm going to add another question in real quick too. Is our supporters able right now to send money to his commissary canteen right now to help him?
So for his first 30 days, yes, they can send money to his commissary. We're going to be coming up on his 30-day mark here, I think in the next week or so. So right now, the way that you can send him money is through the Correct Pay app. Specifically, you'll have to go in and select Florida, his institution, and his name. But you can send money. He can receive, to my understanding, up to $300 per day currently. So that's going to be the best way that you can send him money to be able to make sure that he has some commissary money.
Wonderful. Thank you. And so back to the list of questions, and kind of to follow up with the last one, is Wade safe? What is his mental health like?
Wade is definitely safe. I can tell you that. Being on death row, understandably, he has his own cell. He doesn't really have interactions with many people, so he is safe. Now, I'm not going to lie and tell you that it's all rainbows and butterflies for him right now, because it's not. He does struggle with his mental health, and I think we all know that, right? Especially through watching his trial and knowing who he is as an individual. And it's been challenging, right? He transitioned out of one facility that was severely neglecting him and abused him to another facility where he's still working on it. I will say he's receiving much better care than what he previously had. And what's wonderful is he actually has a team right now of doctors around him. He has like a team of four individuals, one doctor, and I believe like three nurses of some sort, who are dedicated specifically to his mental health. So he's on the right path, but I'm going to be upfront and honest that he is still struggling on a daily basis. Um, I'll tell you that it's the supporters that are really keeping him up, and keeping his mental facilities happier, I will say, but it's still a long road and a long journey for him.
Absolutely. So why did you say Marion is family when she is not? And that from the person sending it, it says in quotations, confirmed by Steve, which for those that don't know is his biological father.
This is another one that we should have been more upfront and honest with. Now, we do consider Marion family. Marion was one of the very first people that Wade and I initially connected with, and she is possibly the most incredible individual I've ever met. She is so supportive through everything. I know I talk to her almost on a daily basis, and she's truly been here for us through everything, and she thinks of Wade as her own son too. And so we do consider her extended family, but we also should have been upfront and honest that she's actually not directly related to him. Now, what I do want to add in here, though, is that while Steve is his biological father, he is not a true parent and will never be a true parent to Wade. That is reserved specifically for his adoptive parents, who, again, are also some of the most incredible people that I've met. So I also want to remind you who you're getting this information from and who you're listening to, that just because somebody is related to you by blood does not mean that they are family.
All right. And the next question is, for how long have you and Wade kept your relationship a secret?
Wade and I made the difficult decision to keep our relationship a secret, mostly to try to help protect myself from scrutiny. I was not in this at all for any form of fame or to become viral. And honestly, it gives me anxiety thinking about it on a daily basis. Um, I'm really an introverted person. I'm a Gemini, so I always joke that there's two sides to me, right? I have my introverted side and my extroverted side, and I've been able to turn on my extroverted side through a lot of this, but it's extremely challenging and difficult for me to do that on a daily basis. So we really wanted to try to keep myself safe since I'm already very uncomfortable in this situation. Um, Wade and I started originally talking in June of this year, but I would say that our relationship started getting more serious during the beginning parts of July to mid July. That's when we really kind of buckled in, and when we had originally started this together. So it's not something that we wanted to keep a secret, right? We had many conversations and many talks about coming out about our relationship, but it was very scary. And I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not trying to make any excuses for it, because what we did was wrong, not being truthful with his supporters about the situation. But at the time, it felt like it was the right decision for us to make.
And so just to clarify a little bit, so the reason for keeping your relationship a secret was not to trick or deceive people into thinking he was single so that they could be deceived to donate thinking they had a chance with Wade. It was strictly just to try to protect you, like you said, from the scrutiny that would come about as it has now, knowing that you are in a relationship with Wade.
That was our main reason. Now, I don't want to lie. I don't think we would have nearly gotten the donations that we have received, unfortunately, if it wasn't for people thinking that Wade was single. And I want to address that because I don't want to lie anymore, and I want to be honest and truthful. Um, our main priority was keeping myself safe and keeping myself out of the spotlight, because I knew as soon as my identity would be revealed, it would take the main focus off of our goals and objectives, which is to ultimately focus on Wade so that we can get him a new and fair trial, because he did not receive that. But again, being honest and truthful, I don't think we would have gotten where we are and raised this much money if people thought that he was in a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree with that. And that kind of follows up with the next question. How can we be sure that the money for this lawyer was used by the money donated?
Well, we have provided information on invoices, and you can see those directly on our official pages. I can't share every little bit in detail because a lot of it is legal contracts, and we're going to be finalizing the legal contract here in the next couple weeks, and I'm hoping I'll be able to provide some additional data once Michael Ufferman is actually able to meet with Wade in person, which he should be able to here very soon. since now he's officially taken over as of last week, I guess earlier, what was it, Friday or whatever it looked like. I apologize, I can't remember the day. Um, but I can assure you that I have never been in this for the money. I have no interest in the money. And I've told that to Wade from the very, very start. I've always been in this for him as an individual and for his right to be able to get, again, a chance at a fair trial. So I can assure you, and again, we'll hopefully be able to provide some additional documentation here in the next couple weeks to assure all of his supporters that this money 100% has gone towards securing Michael Ufferman, and it has not gone towards anything else.
Okay, and I want to clarify and add something in here. Do you feel comfortable answering one, there is a speculation going on that you have purchased a new car possibly with the donations, as well as the conversation about you buying a house next to the prison possibly with the donations. Obviously the invoices and the fact that, Wade does have Ufferman as a new attorney does show that the funds did go where they are. But do you feel comfortable, or is there anything you would like to comment on with those kind of rumors going around with the house and the new car? As well as, do you want to say if you work or not, how that would be paid for if you did buy a car or a house?
Yeah, I definitely feel comfortable answering it. So one, I do have a new car, but I actually bought it in July of 2023, and I'm currently leasing it, and I'm paying it. Oh, sorry, I'm not leasing it. I'm currently paying it off. So I have monthly payments that I pay on my car. It's not like I put a big down payment down or anything like that. I am still paying it off monthly, and I'll still be continuing to pay it off monthly for quite a few years here now. So do have a car, but it's a 2023 Toyota Camry that I'm making payments on, and again, bought it in July of last year. Um, when it comes to the house, I'm someone who I've been very smart with my money over time. I've been working since I was 15 years old, and I haven't stopped. I just have that work ethic in me, and my parents instilled it in me. So I'm not gonna buy a house here, unfortunately. I'd love to, but it's too expensive in this day and age right now. Do I plan to move up closer to him in the jail? Yes. Am I going to rent? Yes, and I've talked to Wade about that as of recently. But again, I can assure you that none of the money would ever be going towards that either. It's just, I've been working a really long time here, and I've been supporting myself since I was 18 years old. So I've had like I said, I've had that money saved aside. And I luckily had that instilled in me growing up to have a good amount of savings beside you just in case of emergencies do pop up.
Wonderful. Thank you for answering that. And one more rumor I want to address quickly is the RV. Do you live in an RV on your mom's property? And do you feel comfortable answering that? Of course, only
All I'll say on that, because I want to keep my family out of this as much as possible.
if
I've
that is
already
something
hurt
you want
them
to
enough
answer.
in this. Yeah, I've already hurt my family enough throughout this entire process. So I don't want to touch too much on it. Um, the RV that I discussed about, I was temporarily living in until I could move down uh, to be closer to Wade and be closer to the situation. So it's an extra area for people to stay at when they're visiting. So again, I was staying in there so that I could have my own private space and I wasn't constantly around my family.
Thank you for answering that. And so back to the questions that the other supporters have sent in. Does Wade really have his communications cut off?
He does not have his communication cut off. He did while he was at Lee County Jail. He does have his tablet to be able to utilize for uh, messaging, and I think he can do some movies and everything of that sort on the tablet still. His phone privileges, it's really weird right now. He did get his phone earlier this week for like an hour or so. We weren't expecting him to have it until the 30th, but right now it sounds like he's only getting it once per week. So he did have it earlier this week. And I'm hoping he'll get it again on Monday or Tuesday next week. But he does still have his communication. It's just a little bit more limited.
Okay. And may I ask if there is any evidence of his innocence?
Yes, there definitely is a lot of evidence of his innocence. You'll see that on our pages we've posted recently some major inconsistencies in his trial, and we're actually going to be working on a little series to continue to highlight those inconsistencies more in depth. So stay tuned to our pages. We're going to make sure that we want to highlight that as much as possible and really continue to have our focus on the fact that Wade is innocent and that he deserves a chance at a fair trial to be able to prove his innocence.
Okay, the next question is how come Jesse doesn't want Wade to communicate with his supporters?
I don't ever want to stop Wade from talking to anybody, right? I think it's really important, and I try to remind myself on a daily basis the fact that he's been locked up for 5 years, and so I'm sure it's wonderful after not having attention to be able to get the attention from thousands of people, right? I can't imagine being in a situation where I'm just vying to try to get anybody to speak with me because they don't necessarily know who I am and where I am. And again, his trial brought so many people brought Wade to so many people's attentions. And so I'm not saying I don't want to talk to his supporters, but I will be honest and say that my jealousy has gotten the best of me. Uh, I just don't want him talking to other people in a romantic way. And it probably came off that I don't want him to talk to his supporters. That's not the case at all. You guys are the reason why we are here and why he has been able to retain Michael Ufferman as his attorney. So I don't ever want to cut him off from his supporters because we couldn't do it without you. It's just understandably from my end of things, I want to be the only female romantically in his life.
Absolutely, which is very understandable. Does Jesse have access to Wade's tablet? Was she messaging supporters?
I do not have access to his tablet. The password, as people are saying it was, that you heard was actually him giving me the serial number of his tablet because there were certain things that we were trying to do, which I'm not going to get into, to allow him more access. Now, I will tell you, if you call Smart Inmate or if you call Securus, and I do believe we have videos on both of those where we did have people call to confirm, it is physically impossible for someone to be able to get into the tablets.
The leading provider of inmate telephone services. If you are calling about Florida DOC money transfer or court payments, please note that they have moved to correct pay. Please go to the webpage at fdc.myflorida.com for more details on how to process these payments going forward. In order to protect your account and to help us serve you better, please have the billing telephone number, 4-digit passcode, and name of the account ready to confirm for the next available representative. If you are unable to confirm this information, you will only be able to make a payment. Your call may be monitored or recorded for quality assurance and training purposes. Please hold for the next available agent. If you are in the state of Florida or your loved one is incarcerated in the state of Florida, please press 1 to be routed to a customer service associate. Otherwise, stay on the line and wait for the next available associate. We appreciate your patience and apologize for the extended hold time. Avoid missed calls and last-minute payments with autopay and text pay. Ask the next available representative for details or sign up online at www.securistech.net. Thank you for contacting Securus. My name is Bridget. May I have your first and last name, please?
Hi, Bridget. I actually was trying to make an account, but I wanted to find out if I have an inmate that's like incarcerated, am I able to like get a code or something from the inmate to log in and help them like respond to messages, or is that only something that the inmate can do on their side?
So apologize for having trouble with this issue. So basically, you're asking if you can help the incarcerated individual respond to messages?
Yeah, like, is there a way that I can log in to like his like account to answer messages on his side of things out here?
No.
No, that's impossible for like Securus in general.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Is there
Have a
anything
good
else I can help you
day.
with?
No, ma'am, that's it. I appreciate you.
Have a great rest of your day and take care of response to care.
Thank you.
From
Bye-bye.
outside of the jail or prison. So I do not have access to a tablet. I would never respond to his supporters as well too, because that's just such an invasion of privacy, right? Whatever he chooses to speak to other individuals about, I want him to be able to feel like he can speak to them about whatever he wants to. I don't want him to feel like I would be reading in on his messages if I even had an opportunity to do it. That's weird, and again, an invasion of privacy, and he deserves to have that privacy because he has absolutely none in his life. So, uh, short answer here, no, I do not have access to his tablets. It's absolutely impossible. Call Smart Inmate, call Securus. They'll tell you yourselves.
Yes. And I will add, if it, I am one of the people who did take it upon myself to call and ask, and I do have a video of the whole conversation that does back up what Jesse is saying. They did say it is absolutely impossible for anyone outside of the facility in a kiosk to even log in. So even if Wade was to get out of prison / jail, whichever, he would not even be able to access those messages once he gets released from a jail or a prison. They stick straight, like they are strictly for the kiosk itself. Now he can get everything, when if he were to get released, he could get it printed out. Okay. Next question. Is there any chance that Wade could be free?
There's definitely a great chance that Wade can be free because he is truly innocent in all of this. And again, we're going to continue to highlight the inconsistencies in his trial, why we think he's innocent here over the next couple weeks. But I also don't want to lie, and I want to be honest that this is going to be a very big uphill battle. Again, Wade's on death row, and it's really, really difficult to overturn his current conviction. Again, it's not possible, and we're going to keep fighting for him until the very, very end. That's why we did hire Michael Upperman, who is the best person in the situation that you could possibly want to hire. And not only that, he's honestly a really wonderful human being and individual. I've gotten to know him personally, and he's just a really good guy overall, and you can tell he truly cares about his clients, and especially Wade, in getting a chance at a free trial. So or a fair trial. I apologize, but again, I do think there's a good chance Wade could end up being free here someday. But I also want to be open and honest that it's going to be a really difficult challenge, and it's going to be a really difficult time for us to be able to get there.
And with that, is there any idea or is there any way that supporters could donate to the law firm specifically, or is there any way that they can donate to help with the legal cost in that uphill battle right now?
Yes, so we're still figuring that out at this moment. We are working directly with the Upperman law firm to figure out how donations going forward can go straight there instead. We have at this time closed down the Fundly account and the Go Get Funding accounts because we don't want to cause any more drama and we don't want there to be any more issues there. So now that we've officially announced that we have retained Michael Upperman, we are just figuring out now the best course of action of how people can directly donate to the law firm instead. And we are going to keep you posted as we have more information, hopefully before the end of this week.
Okay, and does that also, just to clarify, with the Go Get Funding and Fundly being closed down, that is also including the PayPal that you guys tried but ended up closing down. So as of right now, which is September 21st, there is no funding that is going to Wade's case that is confirmed.
Correct. At this time, you are right in saying that the PayPal we did shut down. I want to say it was in like late July, early August. I apologize. My dates are kind of running together at this point. But we did shut it down because it was just too difficult. There are a lot of verifications that needed to be done. And it was just a little too challenging. And we didn't want there to be issues with anything going forward. So as of right now, we do not have a direct way of being able to donate. But if you do want to donate, please let us know. You can send us over a DM in any of our social media pages, and we can direct you to who you need to speak with at the Michael Ufferman Law Firm, where you can donate directly to them. Again, we're trying to figure out a better method so that like you can donate directly to them, but not necessarily have to always DM us about the information. But for now, if you do want to donate, send us a message. We'll get you in touch with the right people.
Okay. And how do you feel about the phone calls between Wade and the German woman?
Well, I think just like any individual, uh, it doesn't feel good, right? But then again, I try to be as understanding as possible in these situations. Am I happy with it and I'm okay with it? No, I'm not. And I don't think anybody would ever be in this situation, right? When you love someone truly and you hear those types of calls, which I'll tell you too, I don't listen to those anyway. I feel like it's such an invasion of privacy, and I don't think it's fair on either individual in this situation to, again, for me to listen in on their conversations, but two, to have them blasted on the internet for everyone to hear. So I don't feel good about it, but I'm also not here to judge. I always promised Wade that I would be here to love him unconditionally, no matter the circumstances, and I plan to do that. Right? He's been, again, locked away for 5 years with not much contact for anybody. And I'm not trying to make any excuses for what he's doing. Uh, but I just try to be understanding and put myself in his shoes and how he must be feeling in this circumstance.
All right. And the next question, what happened with the raffle winners of the suits? The supposed winners are posting emails showing they never received a response or the items.
So we kept that raffle only for like, I think a few weeks maybe. And the individuals at the time that donated enough money for the suits, we did reach out to each and every one of them to confirm whether or not they would want a piece of suit, and if so, what piece they would want. All of the ones that we had contacted at that time did decline and said, that's not the main reason why they were donating anyway. They were donating because they truly believe that Wade is innocent and that he deserves a chance at a fair trial. So they said, that's not important to me. I'm doing this for a different reason. But if anybody does believe, please, that they are owed any form of clothing, please send us a message. We want to do right by you. Again, we thought we reached out to everybody that was included in it. And as I mentioned, nobody wanted it, but we still do have the suits available. So if anybody does feel that they are entitled to one, that they donated, please send us a message. We want to do right by you.
And just to clarify a couple of things with that. So I did see a comment about some bracelets. Somebody thought that they bought a bracelet or won a bracelet. I'm not sure which situation. Is that kind of the same, please, for them to email you if that is the case as well?
Yeah, send us a message, please. Any of those who purchased any type of merchandise through us, I've had a couple people reach out to me and let me know that they didn't receive it, and we did send them right out again another set of the wristbands or hats, because we do want to make sure that you're getting what you paid for. So if anybody did not receive it, please send us a message through our social media accounts, and we will look into it. We will contact you right back immediately, and we'll get it shipped right out.
Okay, and lastly with that too is the suits. I know there's a lot going on with the suits and the phone calls about the suits. If there is somebody who wants the suits that donated enough to get that, have they been worn by Wade, and they would just email you as well about a specific item of the suit that they want specifically, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So they can send it. There was items that were worn by Wade directly during the trial. We are more than happy to send photos of them directly as well too, because we do have it. So he wore, I think most of them he wore one day, maybe two. But what they can do too is if you don't know what you want and you just want a list of what we have, you're welcome to reach out and we can send you over a list too for you to choose an item.
Perfect. What did the adoptive mom mean when she was referring to identity crisis? Can we get a clarification, as in his sexuality, multiple personalities? What is she referring to?
So what she was referring to in this situation is the fact that because Wade is adopted, ultimately, he truly did not know his birth parents. And so the identity crisis, and this is from my conversations with Candy directly. I talk with her almost every single day. Wade just didn't really know who he was, right? He didn't know who his parents were. He didn't know how to feel about not knowing truly who his parents were. Um, and also not understanding why they decided to put him up for adoption. Now, I think we understand that a lot of people put children up for adoption, right? Especially as an adult. You understand a little bit more clearly. It's because they feel like that's the best option and the right option that they have at that time. And I don't doubt that that was the correct move at that time, especially given the circumstances for the ages of his actual biological parents when Wade was born. But that's the identity crisis that she's talking about. You know, he's coming into his own as a young man at that time. He didn't know who he was. He's in this wonderful family, but they're all related by blood, and he's the one who's not related by blood. So, I'm not going to talk about ultimately his sexuality. Now, I'll tell you Wade is straight, but I know that there have been other videos that have come out or conversations saying elsewise. And again, we do things that we need to do in order to keep ourselves safe and secure in situations. So I can tell you that he is straight. But I'm not going to discuss the rest of that because I do feel like it's an invasion of his privacy. And if he chooses to speak about that, it should come directly from him.
Okay. Okay, so this is the last question. Please tell me that Wade is serious about this legal battle with Jesse and all of us.
He is extremely serious about it, just as I am, and as well as the entire team and all of the supporters. This is Wade's chance at getting, again, proving his innocence and getting a fair trial. So this is extremely serious because it's literally life or death for him, and we have to remember that. Um, if we don't achieve our goals here and get him through this appeals process and get him the trial, then he is going to be sentenced to death. It's already been told, and he will go to death. So he is extremely serious about that. Just like I know if I was in his situation, I would be extremely serious about saving my life too.
Yes, it's definitely not a game. I feel that some think it's almost like a game of calls and it's like a little roller coaster. But in reality, this is a man's life that is very much so sitting on death row, praying and hoping and, having faith in other people to help him not be put to death for something that he did not do. And so, is there anything else that you would like to add, Jesse, that was not touched on?
You know what I want to leave everybody on here is that I'm not here to make any excuses, and I'm really sorry that it took me so long to come forward. I've been really trying to gather my thoughts, so that I could address the situation at hand. Um, I understand that what I did was wrong, and I should have been more honest and transparent with everybody from the get go about not only my name, about my relationship status with Wade. And we thought at that time that it was the right decision to hide those items, again, for my protection, but on top of it, because we knew that we didn't think that we would actually get this far without people thinking that. And it's not fair to anybody. It's not fair. I know I wouldn't want that done to me. So I can't necessarily say why I did that to others. What I can promise is that going forward, we're going to be as honest and transparent as possible because that's what the supporters deserve, especially with how far they've gotten us all through that. We can't take back the decisions that we made, but we can be better in the future because we're all human, right? And we learn from our mistakes. And this was a mistake that was made, and we own up to it. But going forward, we're going to be honest and transparent. And if anybody has any questions, I know I've done this with some other individuals. I'm always more than happy to have one-off conversations. Due to legal reasons, I'm not going to be doing any form of live events at this time. But if anybody is interested in just speaking to me one-off to get some clarification, send us a message. I really am an open book, honestly, and I want his supporters to be able to trust in me because we need to remember the main reason why we're here, right? And unfortunately, that has been taken away because of all the drama that my decisions have cost. We're really here to make sure that Wade is able to prove his innocence, get a chance at a fair trial, and tell his story and speak his truth. And we've gotten away from that, and that's what I was trying to prevent from happening by doing this. And unfortunately, that didn't work out well for me. So again, I really just want to express that I am extremely sorry for my decisions and for my actions and what Wade and I decided at that time. We should have taken a step back and realized that the backlash that it could have potentially caused, but in the moment, we didn't necessarily see that. So, no excuses here on out. It's going to be an open book. And please, again, feel free to reach out if you do want to have a one off conversation with me so we can talk a little bit more in depth about things.
Well, Jesse, thank you for coming on tonight and being so open and willing to talk about things that I'm sure were difficult. I appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate Team Wade trusting me and including me in your interview.
Thank you so much, Amanda, as well. I know this was a difficult decision for you to be able to make. And we appreciate you coming out here today. And again, on behalf of Wade and Team Wade, we're really, really thankful for the supporters that are still here. And we're hoping that those who have lost some trust in us, that we can regain that trust here over time.